right with that? Everybody good? Yeah, it's tough, isn't it? Especially after watching Duke implode and you realize, oh, well, there it is. Okay, well, then that'll do it. Thanks for playing, everybody. So frustrating.
This will be known as the tournament that Texas Tech and Duke decided to have a competition of who could vomit all over themselves more.
Well, the answer is Duke because they have a more expensive payroll and, we're up 6 with a few seconds to play. I mean, get a grip. Get a grip, everybody. It only really can happen in college basketball where you have to inbounds underneath your own basket, not at midcourt after a timeout. So you can get to the choke level quicker on the inbounds and the fouling in the backcourt and press and all that. And then all of a sudden you watch kids unravel. Yeah, good times. Good times.
I'm sure the Circumference Fund is not happy today.
I can't imagine so. Can't imagine so. All right, so I went to the scrimmage over the weekend. There was that. This weekend turned out to be a running kick to the cojones for Florida State fans everywhere. So you have what's going to happen tonight, which is Florida's going to win the national title, which is most disappointing. And then, of course, you watched Wake absolutely de-pants Florida State to the tune of 2 run-ruled games in your own backyard on a busy weekend with a lot of folks in town and getting excited about baseball, rightfully, because they've had a good year. But we kind of felt like they were teetering. We talked a lot about it, like, got some issues I'm a little worried about. Boy, did it all come crashing down. Just an avalanche of FUs. Those innings got away from them in a hurry. When it's that bad, you can only laugh. There's not a lot. There's not, you're not having to break it down. Well, there's another extra base hit. That hurts. I was up high at the IPF. I see what you're saying there. Yes, the catwalk is where we watched practice from. I would love to submit, by the way, if we get a chance, that's where I want to watch practice from here on out. Any practices that we're ever allowed to watch. I know we normally don't get to watch a scrimmage, period, but we did this weekend. And if you get the opportunity to watch from where we did on the catwalk, it's basically the coach's film. You really have a great view of what's happening. I want to preface anything to do with the scrimmage by saying this. First of all, you have to know that, and I can say this because I went back and watched and made sure I double-checked because I wanted to double-check. I didn't want to just – listen, they're very, very serious right now with their policy shift, and that's fine. This is not a complaint at all. I want to make sure I adhere to it. And so I want to be careful about what I can and cannot say. I know that. The rules are very specifically laid out. But because players and coaches in particular, were really willing, and to their credit, they were very willing to tell you that they had a ton of people out. And I will confirm for them they absolutely had a ton of people out. It is hard to deduce much from that scrimmage, guys. I mean this truly. There we had so many, by their own admission, go back and listen to their own press conferences afterwards. They had so many pieces missing that it would be hard to get a really good sense of what they're going to be. The defense dominated the scrimmage. There were very few, if any, explosive plays at all. That might very well have to do with improvements on defense. I certainly thought that they swarmed quite well. I thought that they were much more active defensively than we've seen them. I love that aspect of it, guys. And they were hitting. There was no dialing that back. It was full on live. Everybody got hit to the ground. Let's get after it. Real football. So that we'll start there.
Did you see a variance of defensive fronts and formations?
Yes. I think what's interesting about Tony White, and you heard after the, listen, Gus Malzahn said it. You don't have to trust my observations, everybody. Gus talked about how unique the defenses that Tony runs and how they really kind of come at you in a lot of different ways, a lot of different directions. I mean, he brought it up more than once, and he's right about that.
He sounded annoyed. The Coach Lang translates in me, says he thinks, I can't get a normal assessment that I would usually have because this is such a weird defense that I'm not getting a genuine idea of what I would normally have by now in spring camp through 2 scrimmages. Because he plays such a strange defense, I'm not sure if my guys can handle the basic stuff. I don't have a good film to look at.
Yeah, it's interesting. They're kind of they're stuck in a weird place here. This will be construed however it's going to be construed, but they have so many guys out. I mean, they've talked about those players that missed. I mean, but you had basically every. I mean, with the exception of Elijah Moore, you in essence were without the guys that I figure to be your top line receivers. No Deuce Robinson. He did not practice. He did not play, did not scrimmage. No Jalen Brown. This has all come up. This has all been observed and discussed. I'm not talking out of school here so that they don't freak out over there, but all of their best players at wide receiver were pretty much out. And so you don't immediately you realize something, and you could sense this early on. One of the problems they were going to have, without giving away formations or anything like that, they weren't going to be able to stretch the field. They weren't going to be able to stretch the field, and when you have a defense that kind of knows that you can't take shots downfield with any degree of consistency, then it became an East-West day. A lot of things were East-West in the passing game. And so really it became about how effective could this running game be? Well, if we're going to be fair here, once again, thematically, you got a lot of linemen out. You didn't have your starting linemen out there either. Now, there were a couple that did play. Pettibone played and played well. But the other guys were kind of, you're what I would consider to be your backups in a lot of ways. We'll see. Maybe they don't view it that way, but I would. Some of the bigger name transfers we know didn't play. It's been talked about. Mike has admitted that. So again, I'm not talking out of school there. They didn't have the guys that you expect to start at tackle. So it's kind of important, you didn't have it. I thought they were okay running the ball up the middle. They didn't. Gus admitted this after practice. They didn't focus a lot on tempo today. It was his quote, and he was referencing today being the scrimmage. I was glad he said that because I went in expecting to see them really operate at a brisk pace, because we'd heard that they'd been doing that, and they have talked about that as being something that's hard to get a handle on if you're a defense and you got guys learning a new defense and then trying to figure out how quickly to adjust when things are happening now. Well, things weren't happening now. Things were happening now. You had time. You had time as a defense. So I think it allowed the defense to really set up and dominate the day. There's no getting around that. I was very impressed by the defense for what it was and for whom they were going up against. I just there's no other way to say it. They didn't have to worry about the ball going over their head, and I think that changed everything. I thought I saw guys kind of cheat, and at this point, you're gonna cheat. You've seen a lot of it, a lot of this base install offense. You got a sense of what it is. A lot of what they want to do and succeed with is predicated by playing fast, not by confusion. And if you don't play fast and you're not confusing people, you understand what's going to happen. And that's kind of what happened.
Well, yeah, it's run the ball and take shots deep. I mean, that's not half of the equation, but it is what Gus is about. It's run, take shots deep, use turbo offense in order to be able to steal yards because you're at the line of scrimmage before the defense is ready, make a basic read, make a basic choice. And when you're in 2nd and 3, you're going to pick up a first down because they're not ready to react. And that's how you get down the field, is you probably pick up in a scope of 12 plays, 20 yards that are cheapies because you're just going so fast. And they've moved at different speeds over the course of practice. I've heard from different days, non-scrimmage days, that certainly it's faster than anything we did last year. And it's faster than even some of the fast periods of time in Mike Norvell's tempo at Florida State over 5 years. But other times they will go turbo, but they haven't been turbo a whole lot. So my guess is they probably played to it in the scrimmage, knowing full well that they're thin at many positions. What's the point?
Yeah, I think it was a tough day. I think they had a hard time kind of trying to get as much done as they would have liked, given that you just don't have the depth. And it was, I think, at times pretty frustrating for them. It doesn't mean there weren't some good performances, by the way, by guys that are going to be there to help you this year. I think that here you go. I might surprise you a little bit. I thought Omar Graham played well. I thought he really did play well. I thought he flashed a few times. So much quicker to the ball. Really, really, defense might cater to his skill set a little bit more.
Well, he looks the part now, too. He's hit the gym hard the last year and a half because he's been healthy enough to.
Yeah, and if we're talking about guys that look better and look stronger and look, in some cases, leaner or bigger, depending on what you need them to be, I think Biscuit looks very, very good. He is ready to contribute right away, I think, as a blocker without question. They were missing some guys in the secondary, so you have a hard time really getting an assessment. And I think I kept jotting in my notes basically like, well, let's not overreact to any one thing, because when you're missing that amount of starters, it is difficult to surmise much. You can't, if you're missing a starter at wide receiver, another starter at wide receiver, a guy in the slot that's going to be a starter, if you're missing, there was no squirrel, there was no, obviously, so you're talking at that point basically about 4 receivers. So that's a lot to be missing. I thought the tight end room was significantly better in maybe a strength of the team. You can take that with a grain of salt. I don't know that that's ideal, but they'll be utilized. A lot of those guys will be utilized.
Well, this is where fog of camp comes in too. Does that mean the linebackers aren't up to snuff? Because you're always matching one position group against another. And this year, taking the lesson from 24 and applying it, having not seen the scrimmage, I'm just asking you, do the tight ends make plays independent of linebacker play? Is it they're making plays, or is it that they're open because these other guys can't cover?
No, I see that. I got to be careful there. No, they do a good job with their tight ends. How they play.
I know you have to answer that carefully, but I mean, I think the world understands that it's either going to be a safety or a linebacker that covers a tight end. That's not a trade secret.
Right. No, but I think how they're going to use the different skill sets of their tight end is something that is to be talked about.
Tremendous variety in those skill sets.
They do have a wide-ranging group of guys that can do a lot of different things. I'll give you a big picture. So when I tell you that there is no Squirrel White, and I tell you there is no Deuce, or there is no Jalen Brown, or some guys being out, no Lil Wayne McCoy, guys just missing the scrimmage. And that's been talked about by the coaches. So again, no big reveal there. What happens is they begin to look very ordinary when you don't have the guys that can make a guy punish a guy for a mistake. When you don't have somebody that can make a big play down the field for you, and you become very east to west and run oriented in the middle of the line, that kind of stuff. You become just ordinary. You become very ordinary, and I think that would be probably everybody's takeaway, just a generalized view of what that scrimmage was. And it's just one scrimmage, the only one we've seen. I don't know what it was like earlier. I know Gus had talked about some big plays in previous practices. So, and I don't doubt it, because the big playmaker was Deuce in those situations, and he's out. Well, when you remove a 6'6", 6'7" wide receiver who's made all the big plays downfield so far in camp, according to them, then that's a hell of a thing to take away. For all of us to walk in and not see that element of the offense, that's tough. It's tough to get a read of what it will be. There are individuals where you're like, I thought James Williams played well on the defensive line, looked good, made a sack early in this game. He's certainly a big, strong kid who can make plays.
Yeah, size relative to versus Jermaine Johnson, Patrick Payton, those are different body types.
Different body types, yeah.
Where would you slot him as you look at him on the football field?
He's, listen, I know what they list him at, but he looked pretty big. There's been talk that they put on some more weight, good weight, and I could see that. So I'd tell you, I think he's in the 270 range.
Oh, wow.
So he's not small.
Good Lord.
He's not small. He's a pretty big guy. Yeah.
Well, that is heartening.
Yeah, pretty big guy. Yeah. So
and on a weekend of disheartening, that is a heartening thing for you to see.
Yeah, he's not small. The transfer, I'll tell you who stood out. 13, Pittman Jr., that kid stood out. He's a player. I will say that. You want some positive news? That dude's a player. And they're going to use him. I mean, based on what I'm seeing, they're going to use him. I'll just say he's versatile. So they got a little something there. I can see why he likes him. He's big enough to hurt you, in a lot of ways. He's strong enough and he's fast enough, Tom, to kind of be a matchup problem.
This is where I can play Battleship, and I know where the ships are because Gus's offense doesn't change. So he lines up tight ends everywhere.
He sure does.
Everywhere. They can line up out wide. They can be in the backfield,
Correct.
in the H-back position,
Correct.
in line, all of it.
Correct.
And he played at UCF, so I'm sure that the tape suggests he did just that last year.
Yeah, and I think he probably did it really well based on what I saw.
Nice.
He's comfortable. He's going to play. He's got a little game to him. I thought he was good. I'm intrigued by a few guys who maybe even didn't even make plays. There's a couple of guys that I find very interesting. I'll tell you that the Boggs kid at wide receiver is a kid that's had an immediate impact. I can tell that. Mike talked about it some. You can see
You're
why.
buying that? Yeah.
Oh, I am buying it. He seems a little bit more ready than I would expect a freshman to be. He certainly
that's great.
Kind of looks the part. But again, I don't know how to project that to a season and actual games when you're talking about a freshman wide receiver. I don't know.
But it's spring, so that's nice. So that means he'll have a whole lot of tape to go review, playing against college players over the summer to refine the skills, and then a whole nother camp in front of him before the season starts. That's nice to hear. I don't think Alabama when I think Javon Boggs, but when you're saying that, I'm thinking, well, maybe mid-season, maybe by October he's in that rotation.
Well, the reason I would say it is that I think he doesn't seem flustered at all right off the bat in his first camp. And then secondly, I would tell you that body type-wise, he's thicker. He's not terribly skinny. He's 200 plus pounds. You can tell he can endure some things there. They've got a kid in Jordan Scott who's 6'7", who I saw on Saturday. And, I'm not telling you he did anything special, but you just think, well, man, if they can get that to do anything, he's 6'7", and he's all of it. I mean, red zone possibilities, one would think.
And he's got Deuce Robinson to work with, who understands the game from that vantage point, literally, that Jordan Scott looks at the game from.
Yeah. And, what happens is you end up kind of getting back. Oh, I'll give you something else I like. I just need him to be able to, I guess, find a way to lock it in. But Jake Weinberg may have the strongest leg for a kid we've ever had. And that's saying something. Tom, he hit a field goal legitimately 55, 56 yards out at the snap. We were at an angle, so we were kind of trying to tell exactly. We're in the end zone up high. It's kind of tough. It was every bit at 55. Might have been 56 for where they were placing it. We're snapping it. He hit it down the middle, up in the middle of the net from 56. I mean, you can ask anybody else that was there. They all saw it. We all looked at each other. I mean, it is thunderous. I mean, to project that it would have been good from 65 is a fair assessment. So he's got that in him. Now, he also missed from 45 by about 15 yards. So to the left. But then he turned right around and it didn't faze him. He got a chance to kick another 50-something yarder and he made it. So the leg strength, let's just put it that way, the leg strength is not going to be an issue for Jake Weinberg.
Well, I am glad that our kicker NIL game is strong because we're going to need some threes this year.
I just don't know how a kid who they listed 5'9", 5'10", 180 is out here kicking a ball 65 yards. I mean, with ease. It's not like it's like an easy 98.
Yeah, right.
You're not even ratcheting it up.
Well, this is where you will change your. Although Mike is always aggressive with the timeouts at the end of the half, now you would champion that even more than you would Fitzy. And Fitzy had a thunder leg at the back half of his career. In fact, the first half against Georgia Tech bailed us out. Felt a little bit better about poor clock management inside of 2 minutes last year because Fitzy could hit that bomb before halftime. But now maybe we finish a half this year with the ball spotted right in the middle of the logo on the field. 61 yards, 60 yards. I love that stuff. Right at the end of the half. You're going into halftime. Make sure that you guys fan out. Don't allow that kid to return the kick if he's underneath the goalpost. It doesn't sound like that's even going to be a concern, though. It's going out of the back of the end zone. It's just it's a question of whether it's going between the posts.
It's a thunderous leg. It's a thunderous leg. And if he is able to consistently, keep it between the posts, which is the goal here, we're going to have fun with that kid. You're going to get to the opposing team's 43 and be like, we got 3 here, guys. We're good to go. I mean, seriously, it's a big leg. It's a big leg. And that was cool to see. I had to pick my my battles there with what I would talk about, because again, I thought it was disjointed because of the amount of starters that are missing. I don't even blame them for that. I'm not even mad about that. I mean, I would have liked to have seen an offense that hummed a lot more than this one did over the weekend. I would have liked to have seen some more people jump out at me, but I think the people that would have jumped out at me are your starters that didn't play. I mean, most of them, when you're missing 2 and 3 offensive linemen, when you're missing the core of your receiving core, when you're missing those kinds of guys, it's tough to get to get any traction on offense.
What it sounds like to me, though, is what you're saying is we're a little thin. We need good health this season. Is that fair?
Yeah, but I think a counter to me saying that would be somebody else saying, all right, I present to you any team in America that doesn't have their starting top 3 receivers, starting tackles, and who's going to overcome that?
No, like Ohio State.
Like very few teams are going to overcome that. So, yeah.
But the thing is, I don't like getting the sense that we're thin to get to the 8 wins. Usually if you're operating at peak and you're thin, 8's going to be the floor.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we were thinking last year. Well, if the injury bug hits and it's this and it's that, 7 would probably be the floor because you're just banged up in all the wrong places. Like, it sounds like floor would be dangerously low this season if you're banged up in the wrong spots.
I think if you lose some guys, you could be in real trouble.
But that's why you hope that you're spending those chips now in spring.
Well, and I don't know. Again, I don't know what their plans are in the spring with, to add to this roster. I think that they're going to have to.
I'm just saying the injury wheel. Like, it comes up with, all right, need a little treatment. Yes, have that happen in March, not in October.
Yeah. Can I just say, in my opinion, they better hope that Usman Kromah is the real deal. That's my most biting criticism of what I saw. They better hope that kid's the real deal.
So Corey put unofficial stats in the Tribal Council for subscribers,
and I was standing by him. So I'd like, what did he put?
Well, I'm not looking at them right now, but the guy I saw numbers wise, average carry wise, that stood out was Keziah.
He probably had the better of the day. They rotated a lot of guys. They even had a walk on getting a lot of carries, which I thought, okay.
I just want to hope for Keziah.
Oh, I thought he played well.
There are some guys that make me roll my eyes when Mike brings him up. He might even brought that guy up last week a couple times ago. Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. Now more about Keziah. That would be my hope for him.
There's hope for Keziah. There's hope.
Okay.
There's not special in there.
I don't believe you.
There's not special in there. That room doesn't have a lot special to it right now.
So they're waiting for the kid.
And I don't know that you'd play him against Alabama. They're going to rotate guys. They're going to have to. I mean, maybe, listen, they're going to get something out of Jim Lucas for sure. But some guys were also banged up and didn't play. It's the story of the day, man. The story of the day is how many guys were being held out. And I don't want you to read into that as, oh, Jeff says they've had catastrophic injuries. No, I don't know the level to which these injuries exist. I just know that a lot of guys missed. And all I'm doing is echoing what the coaches have said. When Gus gets asked a lot of questions about this offense doing this or doing that or not able to do this or that, you could sense the frustration when he was like, well, we had some guys. But he said it, he's like, well, we had some guys out, so made it a little bit, made it a little bit tougher in there.
Are we done here?
Some guys out. You know who he gets excited about?
2 more for Coach.
It's not his favorite thing. Yeah, if you haven't picked up on it, you know who he gets excited about, and I think he should be? Kevin Sperry. He gets excited about Kevin Sperry, and I would too. For this offense. Not this year. I don't think they're going to play him. I don't know, but I don't think they're going to play him this year. It would be pretty surprising if they did. But for what this offense is going to call for and what that kid's skill set is, I can see why he perks up when he gets asked about it. He was asked about it, and he was like, kid's got some natural stuff to him. And he talked about that. And then later on, he talked about something he did in practice that we didn't see, where he was like, oh, earlier this week. Yeah, I see it. I think everybody there did. Every now and again, you'd go, okay, all right. Kid's got a little something to him. He can really run.
Yeah.
He can really run.
So I heard during the week that he went through a series, like in terms of consistency of accuracy, he's the guy right now. If he sees it, he hits it. His mind seems quiet is how it was described to me, is that he just, if something comes open, You could tell he's not mechanical. It's like when Jameis would break the pocket. I'm not likening him to Jameis. Jameis in the pocket was a very different guy than when he broke the pocket. Just the natural, whatever it is, took over. In stride, on target, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, the plays that he made on the run were his most impressive plays. I'm not talking about even breaking out and running.
Right.
I'm talking about throwing on the run. Yeah. Okay. In that case, yes. I can see that. He made a few plays like that. You could tell he's used to having to throw on the run, that he did it in high school. And that, we know he ran for over 1,000 yards in high school. So there's that.
Noel Dad wants to know if you ran into Johnny Ray Jones.
Johnny Ray was locked in down along the end zone line. I kind of have a funny story about this, which I'll tell you about next, but there's a couple of other observations that I do want to get to, just so we cover this thoroughly and I get it right.
Y'all playing anybody?
There was hitting going on, Tom. There was hitting going on. They're not afraid to hit. They were hitting out there. Now, I know it's a scrimmage, and by definition, you should be hitting, but they did. There was no holding back. And your boy, your guy, Earl Little Jr. came in with his. Oh, he came flying in.
Johnny Ray.
No.
Yes.
No. Earl came in and was ready to hit. Came flying up a couple times. I'm like, there it is.
That I believe. 100%.
Yes. They'll have to dial him back. He was flying around.
Hey.
Well, I mean, it wasn't like oh my God, the guy's dominating the scrimmage. Just if he got a chance to hit, he hit. You're standing around. You're going to get hit.
All right. He's going to get thrown out of one of these practices.
Well, fine.
That's awesome.
Yeah, he'll hit you. Chef Cameron Show 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
This announcement is brought to you by Fonville Lewis Messer McConaughey.
If you're driving right now, you should know there's an 80% chance that the cars all around you don't carry any bodily injury insurance. Most people don't realize it, but in Florida, all the law requires is that drivers carry property damage insurance. This means that the texting teen drifting over into your lane or the drag racer on your rear bumper have no way of compensating you or your loved ones when they cause a crash. And this should scare the hell out of you. Fortunately, there's an easy way to protect your family from this, and it's called uninsured motorist coverage. It's an absolute must, but a lot of insurance companies are convincing folks to drop it just to save a few dollars. Take it from the personal injury experts. Don't. At Fonville Lewis Messer McConaughey, we've recovered millions of dollars in uninsured motorist coverage in crashes where our clients would have otherwise received nothing. So please, call your agent right now and make sure you have uninsured motorist coverage on your policy. We hope you'll never need it, but we'll be here for you if you ever do. Fonville Lewis Messer McConaughey. Don't settle for less.
The IRS is ramping up collection, and if you owe back taxes or have years of unfiled tax returns, listen carefully. Before it's too late, check your eligibility for the Fresh Start program still offered by the IRS to reduce or even eliminate your tax problems. Call our special hotline number now and find out in minutes if you qualify for these life-changing debt reduction programs. Business or personal, if you're in a payment plan with no end in sight, have unfiled tax returns, under audit, have a wage or bank levy, or finally just want to know your options, call the experts at Republic Tax Relief and stop collections immediately. A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau with a 5-star rating from Yelp, this veteran-owned company has the fight you need to take on the IRS. Don't go at it alone. Call the hotline number now, 800-218-5573. That's 800-218-5573. Find out if you qualify today. Call 800-218-5573 or go to republictaxrelief.com.
There's nothing like relaxing after a long day. But if you don't have one, you're truly missing out. Hot tubs and spas have tremendous health benefits, besides just helping you relax. Like improving your sleep, they help with pain relief. They help to better your cardiovascular health, and so much more. And this season is the perfect season to finally buy what you've been wishing for. Pinch a Penny Pool, Patio, and Spas has the hot tubs you need for the price you want. Come shop our huge 12,000 square foot showroom and save today. There's over 50 hot tubs in stock right now, so you won't have to wait weeks on end for that delivery to finally come to town. If you're ready to relax, we're here to show you how. Pinch a Penny Pool, Patios, and Spas. Come visit our used showroom at 2473 Greer Road with over 50 hot tubs to choose from. You'll be glad you did.
Well, it's so great being back in the Oval Office looking out over the White House lawn. Speaking of lawns, I got to tell you about the Lawn Johns. They're the best. Anything from basic lawn care like mowing, edging, weed eating, and they can do even a full landscape design. Believe me, it's incredible. In fact, Elon and I have big plans, and we're going to grow grass on the moon, and guess who's going to be doing the lawn up there? Yeah, you got it. The Lawn Johns. Call them right now, or for a free estimate, you can visit them online at thelawnjohns.com.
Science-backed technology tracked and coach-led. Hey, Jeff Cameron here. You've heard me rave about the benefits of Orange Theory Fitness and the proven track record of science-backed interval training. Well, now Orange Theory Fitness has done it again, adding more ways for you to improve your health and look your best. In addition to the always great standard workouts, OTF has added Tread 50 and Strength 50 for those in the mood to just lift for an afternoon or attack those cardio goals for the day. Take the guesswork out of exercise. Make sure you're getting the most out of each and every workout. Orange Theory Fitness, location Midtown Tallahassee and Village Square Boulevard.
The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
I would not have gotten the fruit brute that you guys are talking. I hadn't checked the chat because I was busy trying to give you my thoughts on what I saw at the scrimmage. And so I went and circled back here just to try to catch up with you guys. And you noted my Count Chocula shirt, which I loved. I did know, obviously, as a kid, Blueberry and Frankenberry. I would not have gotten the fruit brute. I don't think I'm old enough.
I didn't know what that was. So,
I didn't know what it was either. I don't remember seeing
Brute Cologne. That's it.
Yeah, well, and that's still
a thing.
Still exists, yeah, in the green bottle. But
yeah, green and black. Yeah, good marketing there.
Yeah, it is. Still exists. But anyhow, Count Chocula was my thing. Blueberry was my second favorite. By the way, they've changed that cereal since, and it's ass. It's not what it was. I'm sure they did it to cut costs and save a lot of money. And
add more preservatives.
I'm sure
oils and so forth.
100%. I'm sure. Yeah. I may be old enough, Warren, but I don't remember. They didn't have Fruit Brute at the Albertsons in St. Petersburg. Maybe it's that 2-year difference, Lauren. I'm 53, you're 55. Who knows?
Count Chocula was still a big deal when I was a kid, but Cocoa Pebbles had usurped, and rightfully so. Cocoa Pebbles, elite. Absolutely elite.
Yeah, I'm sure it still is. The days of sugar cereals are long gone for me. Yeah, I don't even crave them like I used to.
It's kind of just nice to think about it every once in a while.
Oh, it was the joy.
Without
I was
having to buy it, you know?
Jesse, yeah. I love me some cereal. All right, so let's do this really quick. aboveandbeyondvr.com, aboveandbeyondvr.com. Parents, time to book your summer trips. Few listings for Easter weekend, under $500 this late in the game. It's under $500 a night on the water at a 3-story luxury condo like the one Tom and I stayed in, right there, same area. It's a mirrored to it. It's unbelievable. Under $200 for Memorial Day, under $250 for July 4th. Remember, you're cutting out the VRBO middleman fees, any of that other nonsense. You don't have to worry about it. You use promo code JCS, 5% off right now, aboveandbeyondvr.com. Get on it. Great rates after Easter through July for Florida residents to boot. And I would just tell you I guess the above and beyond takeaway, Tom, is that everything that portends or bodes well in any way for Thomas Castellanos at quarterback in his time here that you would want to see, expect to see, need to see, to have faith that this is going to be something that can work week in and week out, was in large part completely mitigated by the fact that they blew the whistle. So he would have had, I can just tell you this, and I won't tell you what the play is or anything. He would have had another 75 to 100 yards. I mean, I'm being conservative.
That much?
Oh, well, there's a play he's going to score, and it's from 50 out.
Wow.
I mean, but they blow the whistle needlessly. It's not even, it's nonsense. He's gone.
So that's interesting to me. A couple of follow-ups. Number one, I think you would admit then you would feel better about the offense had you lived that play rather than seen it blown dead. Is there something to having seen that? And then that crosses the line, they score a touchdown where you might feel different about the offense in a given day and say, well, they can do that, rather than speculative on referees and whistles?
The problem is, Tom, it's not.
The second follow-up would be fog of camp. Was there such a blown assignment that you're mad at the defense in that moment, or is it just he's making a play?
It's him making a play. He's going to make one guy miss, and good night, Irene. It's stuff we already know. The bottom line is, if he has one-on-one in a situation where you try to pressure, if you don't get it and they're in man, he's going to run for 20 yards. He's going to make a play.
Do you get the sense that he's willing to do that?
Yes. Oh, yes. In fact, he was angered, very angry. I don't think they'll mind me saying this because this is a sign of competitive fury, and I don't think you would ever be mad at somebody revealing that your quarterback is very competitive. So if they get mad at me, they get mad at me. But he yelled at Mike and yelled at Gus and yelled at the refs. Like, come on, man. And he was right to more than once. They're just very careful. They don't want him getting jacked. It was live, so they don't want him getting hit in that situation. And anybody that gets like a fingernail on him, they're going to blow the whistle.
Well, yeah, it wasn't quarterback live all the way, though. I can't imagine, right?
No, but I think because it was a real football game, I think they realized guys were going to get hit if they ran. Yeah. So bottom line is they were very, very aggressive with the whistle as it pertained to quarterbacks. Same thing happened with the others. So they weren't going to let you just, unless you were going to get off scot-free, as in nobody was going to touch you, then you weren't going to be able to really run the ball down the field with your quarterback.
Frame of reference in the above and beyond Castellanos thing would be, how did the speed feel?
He's quick. He's got really short area quickness. That's the thing. It's like you notice that.
Because, we've seen practices in recent years of Jordan taking off, and we can go all the way back to different examples of watching Lamar play or watching Mariota and the Rose Bowl play.
Yeah. No, I don't. He's not the kind of fast that you would compare him to Mariota, but he's going to make people miss and make you pay. I mean, you remember him doing it against us up there.
Sure.
He still has that.
That was also kind of a strange game just because even though it was earlier in the season, you can't tell if he's in fifth gear or not. And sometimes in a practice setting, you see somebody just go.
Oh, he didn't have to at any point let it go, except for down in the red zone. He scored a touchdown by getting out wide, and he just outran everybody. And it was real. It would have been a touchdown. There was nothing anybody could do to that. That's going to be a weapon for him all year long. I mean, you're going to have that kind of speed and elusiveness where he'll be able to break outside the pocket and make a play in the red zone. He did that. Listen, I wanted to be sure I didn't judge too harshly about quarterback play because in the passing game because of how many guys they were missing. And I really felt like the defense was on to what they were doing with the East and West stuff. And so at some point you're kind of screwed. You're not going to get a lot of big plays after the catch when they're already there, when they're already cheating to that side, when they already kind of have a sense of what's coming. It was disappointing for me because I think they had two chances down the field. Mike talked about this. So did Gus. So, again, not revealing state secrets here. They got a touchdown to Elijah Moore that Brock Glenn just missed. Now, in fairness to Brock, he was pressured pretty quickly. Again, you got backup tackles out there. So you got to preface all of this. He's rushed pretty quickly. He does a good job of stepping into the pocket away from the rush, and he's got him. It's a touchdown, and he just misses him. He overthrows him. There's a play that's an interception from Castellanos. That's also a touchdown that he misses. He's late on the throw. He scrambles outside the left side. He's late. It gets picked off. So those were the big play opportunities I thought in the scrimmage that got taken away either because of an element that wasn't there, meaning they didn't have good protection in the moment, or an inaccurate pass in the case of Brock. I mean, you got to make the throw. Got to make the throw. The interesting thing about Brock is that it wasn't long after that missed throw down the field, which I know he was kicking himself for because it's a walk-in. He makes a throw that you shouldn't be able to make. All of them kind of took their turns with those kinds of throws. I thought Castellanos made a throw that I was very surprised about. And without getting into details, it's one of the harder throws in football, wide side of the field type thing, deft touch between a safety and a corner.
Yeah, layering.
They both had both of them each had a throw where you're like, okay, if you're going to do that consistently, that's going to work. I don't know that I would count on it, but they both executed it in the moment. So that was good to see. Again, I think there's enough there that you kind of come away pretty impressed with a few of the defensive players. I think that, I thought Deontay McCray had a good day. Daryl Jackson had a good day. So they had a couple guys where you're like, all right, the Desir twins were good.
Could you be overvaluing them because we don't have our tackles in line where they should
Could be.
Doing the fog at camp thing. I'm going to be
this wouldn't be fog. I just think I could be. I think we all could be because, again, you did not have your starting tackles. And, they were moving some guys around. They were trying to piecemeal it together. I think that's a lot of Gus's frustration is that they haven't had the consistency up front that he expects that they'll have.
Yeah. He got into that after scrimmage number 1 that he's about ready for real defined roles in his offensive line for who's going to be where outside of Luke at center.
Yeah, it makes it tough. I think it's got to be really tough for them. But I would tell you that even with the knowledge of maybe what's coming, maybe what's happening, I thought, again, when I praised Omar Graham, I think I could throw some praise to Stephon Thompson as well. I think I could throw some praise to Elijah Herring. I thought, there were enough guys where you're going, okay, AJ Cottrell played a ton, and I think a lot of people might grimace at the idea of it, but I know this. I will just say this. So AJ Cottrell is 6'1", 230, whatever he is, right? Okay. He plays with good instinct. He played a lot. He's a player that last year I had a coach tell me, we think he'll play someday. He's got enough to him. We think he can play. So now if you extrapolate that out and you say, well, there's more 3 linebacker sets now than there were now that we're running this defense.
You'll have to rotate that because you're going to be on the field for a lot of plays with the offensive tempo.
So if you do that, then it kind of all adds up. At that point, you're like, oh, okay, I can see why he's out there playing more and more. And, I thought he played pretty well.
Like LB5, LB6 in rotation, that kind of a thing.
Yeah, I thought he played pretty well. Shannon Young has made a move to be part of the nation's largest mortgage company now with Cross Country Mortgage. That means good things for you, better rates, better options, stronger support, faster response. He's in 7 states, the Carolinas, Texas, Tennessee, Alabama, Georgia, Florida. Relentless, goal-oriented, cares deeply, unwavering commitment to helping you find your dream home and snagging that loan that we're all after. Loansforknowles.com. That's loansforknowles.com.
This is meteorologist Paul Trombley with your Real Talk 93.3 weather update. A tornado watch continues until 6 p.m. tonight. Storms.
Time to be sure of what you're buying or selling. And that is exactly why Joel Hagen's built ACL Home Inspections, providing you thorough, precise, and efficient service with same-day, easy-to-read digital reports. They'll even go with you on a walkthrough inspection of the home you want to buy. Now, if you're planning to list your house before putting it up for sale, ACL will provide you a pre-listing inspection. Call today, 850-312-8919, 312-8919. Remember, before you buy or sell, call ACL.
Take a sip and have a trip with Tallulah's famous THC slushies. Lots of fun flavors to choose from, refreshingly delicious, and the perfect way to relax. Stop by Tallulah's and try the all-new sugar-free Jolly Rancher slushie today and find out why everyone is going mad for honey. A rare, intriguing, deep red honey harvested from the mountains of Nepal. Mad Honey is the latest trend, creating quite the buzz. Literally. Try Mad Honey today, only available at a Tallulah store near you.
There is no Bigfoot, Eddie. Would you stop with that nonsense?
There's a Bigfoot, Jeff.
I wish there were. By the way, I don't want you to point to me as the guy that takes all the fun out of the room. I wish there was the Loch Ness Monster. I wish there was the Bigfoot. I wish there was the Chupacabra. All the things.
They're all mythical except for the Bigfoot. The Sasquatch.
The Bigfoot?
The Bigfoot. There's big feet. There's lots of them.
So like different, breeds, like different kinds.
There's families. There's different families. And,
so there's if they're in the snow, you call them a Sasquatch
or the Yeti. right?
Yep,
and then
yeah,
and then here in Florida, that's a skunk ape. And
I've never heard that one. By the way, why do you think it's real? We would have found them by now.
They're the hide and seek champions of the world, Jeff. Nobody finds the Bigfoot.
I think you believe in Bigfoot.
I do believe in Bigfoot.
You don't believe.
I believe in Bigfoot.
Don't tell anybody you believe in Bigfoot.
I would go look for Bigfoot, but he scares me.
Gordo's, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
So, yeah, I would say that's about all I need to say about the scrimmage. It was underwhelming, but it wasn't, when you hear that, you're going to say, great. I understand that you would be inclined after the year we had to think that it's not good news that we're underwhelming. But I would just tell you that we're underwhelming, sure, in this scrimmage, but with the amount of starters out, I don't think they had a chance to really impress. I get a sense that they are really working hard on install and making sure everybody's got a sense of what to do. They played hard and they played fast. So meaning that the guys on defense swarmed to the football and they hit in a way that's a step forward. Again, we didn't get to see scrimmages a year ago. So for all the practices that we saw, we never saw scrimmages. So I don't know, maybe they hit like this in last year's scrimmage. I don't know that. But they did hit. It was live and there was no pulling back. People got jacked. It was there's no complaining about that. I want to make that abundantly clear. My takeaway right now is they've got a lot of work to do, but again, without seeing starters out there in a lot of key positions, this is kind of hard to get a sense of where they're at. They're only halfway through spring. You're missing so many starters. I don't know what I should read into that. They're going to have to be a lot better. I suspect they will be. My greatest concern is I just don't see a whole lot of special out there. At the running back position, I don't see anything special right now. Maybe Chroma is. I mean, that's why you went and flipped him on signing day. That was a big get.
That took effort.
Right. I mean, like they invested in him. So they knew they needed somebody that could change the scoreboard. They needed somebody who was more dynamic, who had better vision, who could more consistently impact a football game. And that's why you did what you did. You went out there and paid for it. And maybe he'll be that. And if he is, then all of a sudden things change. We've seen that. A great player at any one position, especially a skill position, can change who you are. So they're going to need that. Again, for as hard as I'm being on these running backs, I think they were certainly affected by the missing offensive linemen.
Yeah, and that could be a cumulative effect too, because I don't think the linemen were just missing for one day of one scrimmage.
Yeah, it feels like they've missed quite a bit of time.
If you've got 3 and 4 days or 5 practices and 6 practices of that going on consistently, you might second guess your reads. You might turn off your instincts because you're running for your life. And or the one time that they paved the way for you, you're not ready for it because you're not used to it. I'm sure there's a mind game that goes with that, especially if you're with that first group and your first team offensive line is not available to you. Also, they're installing something new, too, from the offensive line perspective. So they're not all sure where they need to be. It seems like there's just so many moving parts to have to deal with.
There's a lot. And that's why when you're talking about a first spring with new coaches and new systems, and then you throw into the mix injuries, it is fair, I think, to take a step back and say, now, no matter how jaded or cynical I might be about this, the program missing on some elite players. I don't know for certain what the finished product is going to look like. Not based on one scrimmage. I haven't seen any of the practices, and I've only seen this scrimmage. And this scrimmage, a lot of guys were out. I have to remind myself of all of that because, you could walk out of there going, but then you would immediately, I think, if you're being objective, you'd say, well, when I don't have my starting left tackle and I don't have my starting right tackle and I've got some guys dinged and I don't have my most explosive wide receiver, biggest playmaker at wide receiver, my second biggest playmaker at wide receiver, my third biggest playmaker at wide receiver, when I don't have any of those things, when I've got a new system and I'm rotating. But one thing they do, and they've owned this, part of the reason that I think it's probably difficult to get into a rhythm, and the other part about this is that when you're installing something new, you need guys to learn it, and so you're going to give them as many reps as possible. What I mean by that is they rotated the quarterbacks equally. So your third-string quarterback is getting just as many reps as your starting quarterback. So it was, you had equal reps for all of the quarterbacks.
I don't know what that says, but it also is a scrimmage versus a normal practice setup.
Right.
I'm sure practice it might be weighted differently.
Yeah, it might be. I don't know. That actually would be a good question for them because it may be. I don't know if they do it differently, but in the scrimmage, everybody got equal time.
Well, if you're going to run Tommy a lot, somebody's got to be ready.
There's no doubt.
Yeah.
And they're making sure the other two are going to know, at least have a handle on the offense. There's no doubt about that. I do want to say this real quick before we get to hour 2. Real Talk 93.3 doing the right thing, giving away free tickets to the first ever Cowboys and Pearls event on April the 11th at Southwood Plantation. There's an open bar, raffle prizes, silent auction, with all of the proceeds of this event benefiting Impact Tallahassee. You guys have heard of it. All their efforts to assist children with special needs in our community. That's what Impact does. You can help them. Text the word IMPACT to 850-386-8255. Again, text the word IMPACT to 850-386-8255 to enter to win a pair of tickets. It's a $250 value. Hour number 2, forthcoming. Stay with Jeff Cameron Show 93.3, Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
I got some pretty spooky news from my Paul's termite and pest control technician the other day. It turns out that I'm sharing my home with Formosan termites. Those little monsters do damage about 4 times faster than the regular termites. Fortunately, Paul's discovered them on a routine general pest service, and they've already turned the Formosans back using an amazing treatment called Centricon.
Paul's was the first to introduce the Centricon termite colony elimination system to North Florida and is the leader in this non-invasive treatment. Instead of dumping gallons and gallons of harsh chemicals into our soil, Centricon uses environmentally sensitive treatments loaded in bait stations. These stations are placed around the home. Termites are present, they feed, and take it back to the colony, which is then destroyed. To learn more about Centricon and a free consultation, go to callpauls.com for the elimination of termite or any other pest.
And a greener lawn, too.
Call Pauls. We'll get them all.
Hey everybody, this is Shannon Young with Cross Country Mortgage. Been in the industry now for 22 years. I just made the move over to the nation's largest retail lender, Cross Country Mortgage, here to serve you in 7 states, including Florida, Georgia, Alabama, the Carolinas, Tennessee, and the state of Texas. Here to offer better service, better rates, and if you were thinking about buying or if you've been on the fence and been waiting to call me, now is the time. You can still find me at loansforknowles.com. That is, again, loansforknowles.com. I've helped thousands of fellow Knowles get into their dream home, and I can't wait to help you get into yours. Give me a call today. I'm at 954-369-6171, or go to loansforknowles.com. Again, that's 954-369-6171, and that's loansforknowles.com.
Equal housing NMLS 373031.
Spark Enterprises, roofing and construction services. T-Spark.com. We conquer all peaks. We fix those dark leaks. Call 850-766-134. T-Spark Enterprises, roofing and construction services. T-Spark. T-Spark Construction.com.
CCC 1331204.
There's fun to be had every night at the Corner Pocket. Take home prizes on Trivia Tuesdays and Beer Bingo Thursdays. And kickstart your weekend with Martini Fridays. Plus, happy hour runs every weekday and game day specials every time the Knowles take the field. Watch all the best games at the Corner Pocket's Vegas Wall, featuring 560 inches of flat screen TV heaven.
Oh, really?
The best food, the best drinks, and the best place to watch all the games. Tallahassee loves the Corner Pocket.
Coming up next, more of the Jeff Cameron Show. Live and local on Real Talk 93.3. WVFT, Greta, Tallahassee.
Your sports action update on Real Talk 93.3 with all the latest odds from Vegas.
For the Gators playing for their third national title in school history, they take on the Houston Cougars today at the Alamo Dome in San Antonio for the 1-point favorite, 141.5 the total. Houston playing for its first ever national title. They made back-to-back title appearances in 83 and 84, losing to NC State and Georgetown. Will there be overtime of this one? Yes, the underdog at 9-1. No, the favorite at minus 3,500. The Masters tees off Thursday at Augusta National. Scotty Scheffler, the 4-1 favorite. Rory McIlroy plus 650. John Rahm, 14-1. $250 bonus, and you open up a G-Bank Visa signature card. Visa.com/GBank. Mike Son at Real Talk 93.3.
Find what you love and love what you find. A Total Wine and More, the place to go for sipping rosés with seltzers on ice, making margaritas with your favorite tequilas. It's warm now, let's go. Prices are low on spirits, beer, and wine. You're gonna find what you love and love what you find.
Only at Total Wine and More. Drink responsibly. B21.
Taxes was feeling so stuck. Sitting in traffic, squeezing into a parking spot, all to squeeze in getting tax help during your lunch break. Now Taxes is a TurboTax expert who does your taxes for you, while you go about your day getting real-time notifications about their progress and the most money back guaranteed. Now this is Taxes. Intuit TurboTax. Get an expert now on TurboTax.com. Only available with TurboTax Live Full Service, real-time updates only in iOS mobile apps. See guarantee details at TurboTax.com/guarantees.
Looking for a new SUV? Craft Nissan has 6 models of SUVs with prices starting at $21,900. Motor Trend noted that at $21,900, the redesigned Nissan Kicks punches up at other SUVs way above its price point. See it for yourself at Craft Nissan in Tallahassee.
Siri, tell me a joke. I once stayed up all night wondering where the sun went, and then it dawned on me.
All jokes aside, the trained professionals at Mac & More Systems are serious about Apple products. For all your Mac repairs, call Mac & More Systems at 894-3622. 894-3622.
Give your business a facelift with a modern, consistent, creative brand overhaul from Curiosity Marketing Group. These days, it's not enough for your business just to have a standard website or a Google listing to reach your customers. Your business needs to stand out with eye-popping branding, modern web development, and strong marketing. And it takes a team to pull it all together. Words and websites matter. At Curiosity, we make the most of yours. Find out more at curiositymg.com.
I used to fight almost on a daily basis working on my business website. I'm a pretty smart guy, but I could never get it to function the way I needed it to, and I was losing customers because of it. That's when I called Curiosity Marketing. They listened, they understood, we collaborated, and in the end, they delivered beyond my highest expectations. Now, I can barely keep up with the work. They say the future belongs to the curious, and now I'm excited about the future of my business.
Find out more at curiositymg.com.
Science-backed, technology-tracked, and coach-led. Hey, Jeff Cameron here. You've heard me rave about the benefits of Orange Theory Fitness and the proven track record of science-backed interval training. Well, now Orange Theory Fitness has done it again, adding more ways for you to improve your health and look your best. In addition to the always great standard workouts, OTF has added Tread 50 and Strength 50 for those in the mood to just lift for an afternoon or attack those cardio goals for the day. Take the guesswork out of exercise. Make sure you're getting the most out of each and every workout. Orange Theory Fitness, location Midtown Tallahassee and Village Square Boulevard.
Broadcasting live from Florida's capital city, this is the Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness on Real Talk 93.3. Now, stop what you're doing and listen closely. It's time for the Jeff Cameron Show in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
what went on with the baseball team over the weekend, that you had a good one. We do get a good week this week in the sense that tomorrow Florida State gets to try to shake off the 2 ass beatings they received by Wake Forest with a game against Florida. And of course it is Masters week for Tom and I. That is also exciting. And for some of you golf fans, or maybe only fans in which when the majors are played. So there you go. You get the granddaddy. Although inclement weather today, and I'll tell you something right now, for my buddy that may be driving, listening to this on his way back from Augusta, I'm so sorry, sir. He got a badge first time ever. It was for the practice round today.
They did open the property at 8 a.m.
And he did charge out onto it.
Okay, that's good. That's good.
I told him, race over to Amen Corner at the very least to see it in all of its glory, because who knows how long you're going to be out there. He said they may have missed a couple holes, but they tried to rapid fire walk that thing as best they could because they knew Jose Maria Thabo was out there trying to practice, and he finally quit. And the rains came, and they ushered everybody out by 11. But, man. So not a lot of time at all. But I think he got to see a lot of the course, maybe not all, but a lot. And, not a lot of guys going out there to warm up or play today. So I hated for anybody who had a badge to go out there and see that and then have that happen. That's the risk, of course, but it stinks. Hopefully, buddy, you got to see some of it because it is breathtakingly beautiful. I don't know what that means for the rest of the week. Probably cool air, nice weather by the time they get this thing started.
For sure, here at least, and we're close enough on the map that it can't be too dissimilar. It's going to be beautiful here this week.
Yeah, by Wednesday, right? By
tomorrow.
Oh, by tomorrow? Nice.
Yeah, 50s and 60s. It'll touch into the 70s for highs for the rest of the week. And then it heats up again next week, which we need to start looking at the calendar for our golf tournament a week from Thursday.
Yes.
So it's already that close. I don't know if you do this, but I always sweat it. As soon as the app provides me the Thursday.
Just never have. I never have because there's nothing we can do about it one way or the other.
That's correct. Doesn't matter. I'm glad you keep doing what you do, and I'll do what I do because it's been working for us. We've had so far outstanding
we've been very
tournaments.
Fortunate. Yeah, we've been very lucky. Fortunate. Which is great because it's for charity, and that's that's what matters. And everybody shows up and has a great time and does their part, and I've been very grateful and thankful for that. But I've never. I'm sure if I woke up on the day of the tournament and walked outside and it was a torrential downpour, that's stuffy. Probably not going to be able to play today. That would suck, but we haven't had it happen.
Yeah, we try to call it rain or shine, but we don't want to test that.
No. We want to get out there and swing the sticks a little bit. So I look forward to that, meaning not just that tournament, but the Masters this week. And, of course, Florida State baseball needs to play again. That's what they need. They got to play again, man. You can't wear those seismic beatdowns and not want to get back out there. I'll tell you, there's frustration. There's real frustration. And you don't believe it. Listen to the end of Link's interview. Aslan asks a question about how quickly they've got to get their mind right and get this turned around, how quickly and how important it is to kind of refocus and lock it in again. I'm paraphrasing Aslan's question, but it's something to that extent, talking about Florida and then Virginia Tech. Link, because you think? He was a little perturbed. I think he's a little upset. I think I would be too. Two brutal performances. It was good to see Jamie Arnold look good.
Yes.
That's what I'll take away.
Yeah.
It was good to see Jamie Arnold look good.
Pitch count issues early on, but steadied the ship, and you sense that there was a rhythm. There was a rhythm that was building, which is good to see.
Yeah. So you got that back. Unfortunately for Florida State, it was the wrong time for Vellini to have a night in which he couldn't locate that curveball.
Which is something you'll forgive because
he's been brilliant.
Everybody gets a dud. You just don't need 2 out of 3, 3 out of 4 duds.
Well, and that's one of the ways you can look at it. You can be like, all right, look, the guy that's kind of been your ace really got shelled, really couldn't get it together and could not locate, and therefore, you get run ruled in that Saturday game. And then you're going to need Wes Mendez to come out and pitch well, and I think early he did. You have a 2-0 lead. You had Morningstar in trouble. You could have made that a much bigger lead. It might have made a difference because their bullpen was up against it. And so had you been able to build a 4 or 5 run lead early when you had opportunities to get big hits with runners in scoring position and didn't, then maybe it changes the complexion of the game. But the bottom line is that kid rose up and made big pitches when he had to, and Mendez did not. So the 4th inning happens. It all comes crashing down. I think the much greater concern has to be what we already identified as a potentially huge problem, and that is a bullpen that can't get anybody out. And that spends an inordinate amount of time walking people. And that, man, is a problem. It's not something where you just say, well, it's over. But I think you've identified a real issue that at the end of the day, if you're going to project about postseason success, you're going to be, I think, cynical. You're going to say, I doubt that this is the team. I think this is a credit to how quickly Link got us back to a place where that's the expectation, where you go into every season now saying, all right, well, last year you make a run. You're one of the last 4 teams standing in the College World Series. It's unbelievable given the season prior. So just like that, you've turned this thing around. You had an elite offense. You did all these things well. You had some holes on that team, but still some real, real good there. And this team is still good. This is a good baseball team. But because you now compare and contrast what this team is to the expectation that they're going to go back to Omaha and try to make a run at it to win a national championship, well, you're certainly not looking at this team as that. You think that they're good enough to get to Omaha? Sure, they might be good enough. If everybody pitched to their best capabilities, meaning your starting rotation, and your offense, listen, their offense wasn't good the last 2 games. You get blanked and then you score 2 runs. But I don't think that I would throw away all the data points of them having hit the daylights out of the ball for most of the year. So, all right, tough weekend on the diamond. I'm going to assume they're still going to be a good hitting team. They've got too many good hitters. So I think it's a safe assumption. We have more data points that they can hit than not. If you're going to go ahead and proceed forward and say they're going to hit the baseball and that they're going to get the good Volini on any given weekend or in a super regional or whatever, that they're going to get the good Jamie Arnold, that they're going to get the best versions of those two, yeah, you can make your way there. You could make it back. Do I think they're good enough? Ultimately, are they deep enough? No, it doesn't appear so. I think the Cresta injury turns out to be a really big deal. It is a problem.
It is, and it seems to me like, hey, maybe Leiter will be available at some point. This is a group where it's always important to win game 1 of a regional or super regional, or if you make it to Omaha, to stay in the winner's bracket. But some teams in a regional, better example than Omaha itself, some teams can lose game 1 and you'll still feel that they're the betting favorite to come out of the regional. Right. This one, it is critical.
Not so much, right?
Critical to win game 1 of regional weekend, and then the following game 1 if you make it another weekend. But now it's in doubt, which in a way makes it more interesting if you're just trying to be neutral about it. But I'm not neutral. I don't want it to be interesting. I want us to be all world dominant and to allow for regional, super regional weekend to be coronations of the next trip to Omaha. They're a long way from that.
Yeah.
But you got another month and a half to play with to see if maybe you can cultivate some options out of the pen that find some consistency, because there just hasn't been.
I thought it was interesting that he believed, because I wanted to hear how he would answer this question, and he got asked it about whether or not it was stuff or just execution. And he leaned into execution, that they're not, he thought the stuff is fine. They're just not executing pitches when they have to execute pitches. Well, remember this, Wake Forest in the last 3 years has been one of the nation's better teams at drawing walks. One year, I think they led the country. Another year, they were top 10. Another year, they were so three of the last 4 years, they've been in the top 10 in drawing walks. Their approach is to make you throw strikes. They are going to make sure you can throw your secondary pitch for strikes. So at the end of the day, when a guy comes in, all right, let's say he throws his fastball for a strike. Good start. Okay, cool, got it. Show me you can throw a breaking ball for a strike. And not every team has the patience or the discipline to make you do it. And Wake did. They're like, no, I don't think you can. And when guys couldn't, they sat dead red and pissed on it. And, that's a recipe for disaster for anybody. We've done that to teams too, where if you got a guy that's got a good frontline pitch, let's say it's his fastball, same thing, you're throwing 97, great, good. Okay, can you throw anything off of that? Oh, you can't. All right, well, then I'm going to hit this to the moon because I'm just going to sit dead red, and when you throw it again, it's gone. But that's where I think he was a little frustrated. They do have guys that have secondary pitches, but they didn't locate their secondary pitches. And so once that happens, you're a one-pitch pitcher. Unless you're freaking Nolan Ryan, you got a problem.
Or you're going, for one inning, you're a closer because you have some exceptional stuff and you're never going to see the second time through the order. The problem, I think, in general for Florida State at this point is that's also the reputation. That's the scout.
Oh, I think so. I think that they've gone too many outings in a row where they cannot, especially out of the pen, to your point, throw a secondary pitch for a strike consistently well.
So that means whoever's in the batter's box in a situation is going to if we break out of it, you're going to see a lot of backwards Ks. Because you're going to have to prove it and surprise the hitters. It's the same thing. The book on Florida State football right now is we're soft. And we're going to get challenged to that end about how to play physically and will we match you physically down for down. And maybe by the end of September, we'll have rewritten our reputation and people will play it a little bit differently. Same thing here over the next month. I mean, tomorrow night with Florida, seeing two very different versions of that game where they shelled us the first time. The second time, we hit them into the ninth inning.
Yeah.
And then they finally put a couple of situational plays together, and next thing you know, we're trailing in the baseball game. Okay, how about round 3? How does that look? Because I would imagine we're going to use 4 or 5 pitchers tomorrow night. And what's Florida's approach look like, and can we respond to that? And it's going to be good to get back on the field tomorrow. They need it badly.
Well, they'll be playing a Florida team that will be desperate to get a win as well. They just got swept at home by Vanderbilt, losing 6-0, 3-2, and 11-3. The week before, they lost 2 out of 3 to Ole Miss. No shame there. That's a ranked Ole Miss team, but they lost 7-5, 10-9, and they won a game 11-8. Obviously, the last time they played us, which was the game before they played Ole Miss, they got beat 8-4. They got swept by Georgia resoundingly, run ruled twice. 15-4, 17-2, and 8-7. They lost the first game of that matchup. They got swept by Tennessee. They got run ruled twice there.
That's something that makes little to no sense as well. When you just look at the stuff, to the question from that Link had to answer, stuff versus location. I mean, that staff has way more stuff than we do, top to bottom. Oh my God.
Well, I would agree. They have
How are
more
they getting shelled left or yeah, no, I agreed.
Yeah.
Metal, timing, mechanics, all that kind of stuff that matters. But on pure horsepower and RPM and all that kind of stuff, that Florida rotation's nuts.
Well, at the end of the day, Florida, we might be frustrated right now, but Florida's 20-14. They're 1-11 in the SEC.
That's something.
Now, listen, I doubt right now their fan base cares at all because they're on the cusp of winning another national championship in basketball, which has me irate, frustrated to no end. Nothing I can do about that tonight, but all right. But their baseball team is woefully underachieving. Now, the weirdest thing for them right now is that it was last year too. They were scuffling to get into the postseason, and then they were with us, one of the last 4 standing in the College World Series. So I guess you could look at that and say, all right, well, they figured something out at some point. I mean, how do you lose as many games as they did a year ago? Maybe we do the same. Maybe we figure out, and we haven't lost a bunch of games. Maybe Link figures out there's 2 or 3 guys I can trust. That's it. That's all. I'll pare everything down. I'm done giving all these guys opportunities. They're not throwing strikes. They're killing us right now. Problem is, I don't know that you can say with any definitive gusto in your tone that which 3 you'd pare it down to. I'm talking about bullpen arms. Like, which 3-4 guys are you saying, yep, I believe when I go to them, they're gonna provide what I need?
Yeah, just looking, plainly at the stats.
Well, I mean, I think that's a mistake.
There's noise in there. I understand that there's noise in there.
Yeah.
Because you wouldn't use Green. He's pitched 2 1/3. But Lauk has been nice of late.
Had a good outing the other. Yeah,
he did. He's pitched 9 2/3 to a 279. Martinez, we felt great about 2 weeks ago. He's at a 412 now.
Well, and it's moving the wrong way.
Joe Charles had a really nice night against Florida. He's at a 430. Prescott, we felt early in the season. Look at that. Now he's pitching to a 509.
Mm-hmm. Steady getting hammered.
That's right. Like college kids at age 8 in the 2000s.
It's Thursday night on the Strip when he comes into the game, buddy. It ain't good. Steady getting hammered.
Old Rowan's not having much of a year. 4 innings, 1575.
Oh, it's
Ben Barrett. Now, we saw that one early. We flagged that one as potentially a problem. It was a nice story, opening weekend.
It's frustrating.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what to tell you. I guarantee you, everybody that's over there at Dick Howser Stadium, Mike Martin Field, when we go to the pen, is like, ooh, we shall see. I don't know about this. So yesterday, it's a 2-2 game. You're in the 4th inning. You're like, all right, let's everybody settle down.
45 minutes later.
You're like, good God, man.
Side retired. Woo.
Yeah, we have a mutual friend that took his family to the series, to the game on Saturday, and he texted me early on. He was like, took my whole family to this game to get out and see this team. I was all excited only for us to get tuned by Wake. And I wrote back, we can hit, hang in there. It's early. And it was like 5-0 at that point. And he gives me the thumbs up emoji. A few minutes later, it's apparent we're not going to, and we're going to get housed. And I wrote back, never again take your family to that stadium, you freaking curse. But I didn't say freaking. It's like, God, man. It's your fault. You and your family's fault.
We're 0-2 in the post you took your family to Hauser era. In the most resounding way.
In the most resounding way. Somebody else mentioned, well, how often have we been ruled at home? I'm like, first of all, it's a new rule. I mean, they rightfully didn't have it in men's baseball for a very, very long time.
Glad they do now.
But, yeah. I've seen incredible comebacks in which a team trailed by 10 runs, so I've never liked the idea of a run rule. But when it's getting up to around 17, I'm like, okay, all right, there's not a lot. Let's go ahead and wrap this one up, boys. We've blown any opportunity to show some fight. I think we're about done here. My friends at T-Spark Enterprises always prevent leaks before they start. Any large roof issues could have been avoided by fixing small leaks and defects before they worsen. Fix the minor issues to prevent the more significant problems later. T-Spark will help you do that. Give them a call today for your commercial and residential roofing and construction needs. Call T-Spark Enterprises, 850-766-1340. License number CGC 1525336, CCC 1331204.
This announcement is brought to you by Fonville Lewis Messer McConaughey.
If you're driving right now, you should know there's an 80% chance that the cars all around you don't carry any bodily injury insurance. Most people don't realize it, but in Florida, all the law requires is that drivers carry property damage insurance. This means that the texting teen drifting over into your lane or the drag racer on your rear bumper have no way of compensating you or your loved ones when they cause a crash. And this should scare the hell out of you. Fortunately, there's an easy way to protect your family from this, and it's called uninsured motorist coverage. It's an absolute must, but a lot of insurance companies are convincing folks to drop it just to save a few dollars. Take it from the personal injury experts. Don't. At Fonville Lewis Messer McConaughey, we've recovered millions of dollars in uninsured motorist coverage in crashes where our clients would have otherwise received nothing. So please, call your agent right now and make sure you have uninsured motorist coverage on your policy. We hope you'll never need it, but we'll be here for you if you ever do. Fonville Lewis Messer McConaughey. Don't settle for less.
There's nothing like relaxing in a hot tub after a long day. But if you don't have one, you're truly missing out. Hot tubs and spas have tremendous health benefits, besides just helping you relax. Like improving your sleep, they help with pain relief. They help to better your cardiovascular health, and so much more. And this season is the perfect season to finally buy what you've been wishing for. Pinch a Penny Pool, Patio, and Spas has the hot tubs you need for the price you want. Come shop our huge 12,000 square foot showroom and save today. There's over 50 hot tubs in stock right now, so you won't have to wait weeks on end for that delivery to finally come to town. If you're ready to relax, we're here to show you how. Pinch a Penny Pool, Patios, and Spas. Come visit our huge showroom at 2473 Greer Road with over 50 hot tubs to choose from. You'll be glad you did.
The weather is unpredictable and can cause issues around your home. Weston Treywick provides commercial, residential, and industrial electrical wiring services, yearly inspections on fire alarms, portable generator sales, and so much more. With 24/7 emergency service and repair, Weston Treywick will be your calm in the storm. Give them a call at 514-0003. Weston Treywick. Professional electrical services day or night. Visit online at westontreywick.com.
Sometimes I struggle to get to sleep. My body stopped for the day, but my mind is still running. So I take ZQuil.
ZQuil, the world's #1 sleep aid brand, has a range of non-habit forming products to fit you and your family's needs. Invest in a great night's sleep for the best you tomorrow.
I'm awake and ready to take on anything.
Better days start with ZQuil nights. Explore our products at ZQuil.com. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
I'm ready. Let me just grab my bag. Sweatpants, huh? Didn't know we were keeping it casual this month. Yeah, I feel bloated every now and then.
You have to try new Align 3-in-1 Biotic Gummies. They have prebiotics to nourish good bacteria, probiotics to help relieve occasional bloating, and postbiotics for immune support.
All that in one gummy?
Yep. So no sweatpants next time?
Not anymore.
Align 3-in-1 Biotic Gummies for gut health support. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Science-backed, technology-tracked, and coach-led. Hey, Jeff Cameron here. You've heard me rave about the benefits of Orange Theory Fitness and the proven track record of science-backed interval training. Well, now Orange Theory Fitness has done it again, adding more ways for you to improve your health and look your best. In addition to the always great standard workouts, OTF has added Tread 50 and Strength 50 for those in the mood to just lift for an afternoon or attack those cardio goals for the day. Take the guesswork out of exercise. Make sure you're getting the most out of each and every workout. Orange Theory Fitness, location Midtown Tallahassee and Village Square Boulevard.
The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
So we will be joined here in a couple of minutes by our good buddy Ira Schoffel, Warchant.com. I saw Ira on Saturday. We'll get his thoughts on what he took in. He was taking notes diligently. He's actually got that down to a science. He's got the iPad set up where you write it out, with the little fake pen thingy there. Yeah. I actually like that version better. That's how I always learned, by the way, was writing things down. If I write something down, I don't forget it. And so in show prep or school, whatever, if I needed to know something, I just wrote it down. I didn't type it out, wrote it out. If I wrote it out, steel trap, baby, ain't going nowhere.
You could see it on the page of your notebook.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's exactly right. So our brains are similar. I would, if I got stuck, I'd be like, oh, we talked about this. What I read that. Oh, that's where and then I would be able to regurgitate it.
That second bullet point on that new page. I like that page because I was writing. I had the blue pen. What did it say? What did it say?
And then all of a sudden your brain goes, that pen was a good pen. I need to get more of those pens. Oh yeah, back to this. So yeah, that's where we were. I think we were probably fair. I think that based on the fact that there was a lot missing, it's very difficult to draw much. There were individual moments where you got excited about a player, but I've just, it's the only thing we've seen yet, which is that one scrimmage. So not a lot. I believe he's here with us now. So let's do it. Ira Schoffel, Warchant.com. He joins us every Monday. We appreciate it. And we'll do it again right now. Hello, Ira. How are you, brother?
I'm great, Jeff. How are you?
I'm very well. Thank you very much, sir. So I said to my audience here, I don't know how much of the show you've heard today, that, look, it was tough to glean a lot from the scrimmage because there were so many guys out. I don't think I'm revealing trade secrets. All the coordinators talked about that. Obviously Mike's talked about it as well. A lot of guys out that really probably, I think, hurt the explosiveness of the offense. Defense kind of ruled the day. Did you have any thoughts, though? I mean, I know we all took individual notes. Was there anything that stood out to you, good or bad? And if so, what was it?
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest thing to me, honestly, was just actually seeing, what we had heard about Tommy Castellanos and this offense kind of being built around him. I think that is something that is going to be really good for Tommy Castellanos, and I think it's going to be really good for Gus Malzahn in this offense. I mean, I just, listen, I don't think he's going to be asked to drop back and diagnose the field and make third and fourth reads and those types of things, which is what I think Bill O'Brien was trying to make him do last year at Boston College, and where maybe it wasn't as efficient as he wanted. You see this offense, you see what they're looking to do, the way they're trying to, stretch the field both, horizontally and also vertically, but then also establish the running game. Listen, with Tommy Castellano's skill set, and if you give him some weapons that can hit big plays over the top, I really think that there's a chance this offense could be really good. Now, we didn't get to see that on Saturday, but I thought Tommy looked very comfortable running the offense. It looked like he knew where everyone was supposed to be on every play. You would see him. There were a couple times where he threw the ball and he could tell the receiver was running the wrong route or making the wrong read based on the defense. And it was like he was going to correct them while the ball was still in the air. I think he has a really good grasp on what they're trying to do, and I think it's going to be really suited to him. So that, again, even though we couldn't see the product of it because, like you said, they were limited, I was just really excited to see that. Like, I'm excited to see. This might be the first time in his career where he has an offense kind of really tailored to his skill set.
Yeah, and he was also hurt by the fact they just blew the damn whistle anytime he had a chance to make a big play. So, again, to reiterate for people at home, he had at least two that I can remember for sure, Ira, where he would have run for at least 25, 30 yards bare minimum, maybe more, had they not blown the whistle. So, it's interesting. And I think you would say this too, I don't know, like it's hard to get a sense he didn't have either starting tackle there. We just, again, you mentioned missing a crop of receivers. So I didn't see the explosiveness I wanted to see. And I think because those guys were out, they also didn't run the tempo that they're going to run, right? I mean, they had a lot of guys that aren't going to be out there playing, so I don't think that they were able to play as fast as they would have liked to.
Yeah, I'm going to assume that that's probably part of the reason why, because, there was not a breakneck tempo by any stretch. It could have also been, listen, man, if you don't have numbers, it's not even just about, like, you don't have the best players available, but you just don't have enough guys to play all the snaps. And so you're having to play, maybe some of the same receivers with the first, second, and third team, or some of these same offensive linemen with a couple groups. You got to, understand if you're going to run 100 plays, you kind of have to, take it a little slower. Now, but I can't, because we're not at practice, I can't tell you what it should look like. But I agree with you. I think that's probably a part of it. And, I also think that, again, when you think about adding some of those playmakers and then adding the ability that Tommy has to run, which they didn't let him do, again, I think you get a feel for maybe what this offense could be. Because it wasn't like the defense. I mean, the defense was better probably overall, but it's not like it was nothing there. I mean, the offense, had moments, and they had some drives. When Tommy was a quarterback, they had a couple drives. So, we'll see. I just, no, you didn't walk away feeling great about the offense, but I think you could see what it could become, especially when they get those guys back.
Somebody asked a funny question in the chat, but it does allow me to get your opinion because I've already expressed it, and I think that Pittman looked good. I think he's a nice addition. We already know that Landon Thomas can play. We already know that tight end room's got some talent. Didn't you think that Pittman stood out on offense, or did I see that wrong?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear the last part.
Oh, Pittman standing out on the offense. I thought he looked really, really good.
No, I definitely did. And listen, man, he had a really good year last year at UCF, and he's a guy that Florida State really wanted coming out of high school. And I think he coming out in high school, he played some running back. I mean, he's kind of, I'm not going to say he's he's probably not as gifted athletically as Jaheim Bell, but I think he might be maybe I don't want to say tougher, but maybe a more durable, player that Jaheim was banged up early in that middle of that season, and we really didn't get to see what he was against LSU or some of those other games early on. Later in the year, Randy Pittman's a guy that has played like full seasons, and I think the way he's built, I think he's going to be a big part of this offense, and I think they can use him in a bunch of different ways.
Jump to the defensive side of the ball. Who stood out to you? I actually liked some of what I saw from this defense, all the while understanding and putting out the caveat that this offense was a little banged up that they were going against. But who on the defensive side of the ball stood out?
Yeah, I don't, it wasn't like there was one or two guys that I just said, okay, that guy's dominant. Like there's a Jared Verse or there's a Braden Fisk. Like I didn't see that. Darrell Jackson flashed a couple times. A bunch of guys flashed like in different moments, but it wasn't like anybody I thought was taking over the game. But my biggest takeaway from the defense, and really what I was hoping for, and I'm about to post a 3-2-1 I wrote up on the website, but my biggest thing I wanted to see out of Tony White's defense was not about the schemes. My biggest thing I wanted to see what he was going to do with this defense compared to a year ago was, would you get guys to believe in the system? Would you get guys to believe in each other and play really hard? And I thought there were signs of that. Now it's still 4 or 5 months away. We'll see how they act if things are going bad in the game. Do they really, rise up, or do they crumble? But I like the way they rallied to the ball. I like the way how hard guys played. I like the way they were interacting on the sideline. Like, it seemed like a very cohesive group, like guys that were all together on the same page. And to me, that was not a defense that played. To me, last year, that defense was not as bad as it played. I think there was a lot more talent there than we saw. I don't think they rallied around each other. I don't think they believed in Adam Fuller anymore for whatever reason. And I think that if Tony White can get that and bring that out, and I said there were signs of it, the way they pursued the ball, the way they hit when they got there, to me, that was the most encouraging thing from what I saw in the defense.
All right, let's jump over here to an area that I think a lot of people have a lot of concern about. It'll happen when you give up 100 runs. The bullpen has been trending in the wrong direction for some time. Everything kind of got, I think, brought to a head because you didn't get the normal start that you've gotten from Bellini. They got pasted, and it's not the first time, on a level of 1 to 10 in terms of hitting the red mash concern button. Where are we at with you right now with this baseball team?
Probably pretty high. 10 scale, I don't know, maybe 7. And it's crazy to say, they're still top 10 in the country.
Sure.
And, you feel sometimes you feel alarmist when you get, really upset about, 1 or 2 things or 1 or 2 games. But they were so atrocious. But I think what really got exposed in that game to me, and what really compounded things was, earlier this year, I thought even offensively when they were scoring runs, there were times I thought they were not very selective at the plate. There were a lot of times where I felt like they were just overly aggressive, not cashing in on opportunities and maybe chasing pitches that they shouldn't have chased in bad situations. So then now the pitching's falling apart, all those things really got accentuated. And, so I think that it's going to be from an offensive standpoint, I think that they can get back to where they need to get. Now, like one of the things Link said that I thought was really insightful, he mentioned during the post game was, sometimes it's great to have success, but you need to fail sometimes too, because that you learn from those lessons, maybe sometimes more. But I would say this, that's kind of why, me and I'm sure you and a lot of other people didn't love the schedule and feel like maybe you need to challenge yourself more early in the season because, I'm sure guys got full of themselves the way they were hitting the ball, against some of the teams they were playing, Georgetown and, all these teams they played early in the year. And so now you get in these tough situations where you've got to have really good at bats. You can't just go up there swinging at anything you think you can get your bat on, and the discipline's not there, and then you get exposed. So the pitching staff, I feel like the starters will pitch better than they did this weekend. Really, before this weekend, Jamie Arnold was a big concern, and then he pitched pretty well. So I feel like the pitching will come around, and then the offense, I think maybe they'll learn from this. So I'm not ready to hit the panic button completely, but I do feel like everything that could have gotten exposed did get exposed. Like you said, the starters didn't give you the depth they needed, and then your bullpen gets exposed, and then the offense got exposed too. So I think they can turn it around, but it's certainly concerning. That was about as bad as it gets this weekend.
I won't have you out here disparaging Lipscomb. I know you.
My bad.
Be good, brother. I'll talk to you later.
Thanks, Steph.
Yeah, take care. Ira Schoffel joins us every Monday. We appreciate it. Yeah, listen, in fairness, this goes back a ways. This isn't a Link thing. I think Florida State started to go that direction some time ago, where I would say at the beginning of every year, why are we playing so many series against teams that don't have much of a chance to provide any real information to you other than you can hit average-ass pitching?
Yeah, I think if you're just speaking on schedule strength, that's a fair thing to bring up. The bats did respond a week ago in South Bend when they had to have them, and that was something. Even in a loss on Friday, you saw response. For me this weekend, until further notice, that's an outlier for the bats. I think they're coming up with consistency. But the full of himself thing, I sense that.
Oh, yeah.
100%. I'm totally in agreement with Ira on that. I felt that earlier in the year. I'm like, man. Like, did they win the game on Friday night and go hit the town and not show up on Saturday? That was my first thought.
I don't know about that.
Did they
but maybe.
go hit the town Friday night? What's going on? Well, I mean, you're getting run ruled in 7 innings. What the hell? Bellini wouldn't, because he knew that's his day to start. But everybody else, what's going on?
Yeah, Bellini, well, they got shut down. And Bellini just didn't have his stuff. And that was pretty disconcerting early on when he couldn't locate his curveball, because that is his out pitch, and you're screwed when he locates it. And when he couldn't, I thought, we're going to have some issues here.
He's not one that I would have that. I think he's fine. He's mature. But I'm just wondering, reading their press clippings a little bit, what's going on here? I think that there might be something to that.
You'll have a very angry Florida team in Gainesville that just got pasted and swept themselves over the weekend. We didn't get swept, but anyhow, they're going to be hungry. And that's also the final game of a 3-game series, as we well know. So this is for the series win this year. And then you're on the road in Blacksburg against Virginia Tech after that.
You can call it Angry Tuesday tomorrow night. We should be pissed. We should be furious.
Oh, I would like to believe this might be a very chippy game here. I would have liked it more if Crest was starting it.
Yeah.
So you can be as angry as you want to be, but I mean, we don't.
Can we make this Jamie's side bullpen day?
Just go give us 2. Give us 2 innings,
25
Jamie.
pitches, 30 pitches, whatever that gets us. It'll help.
It would help. It would help an awful lot, but alas, I don't think so. I think we're kind of screwed here with that, unfortunately. Hey, you don't have to be screwed if you're running a business. How about that? You like that? Our friends at Tried and True Consulting doing the very best they can to save you money. And don't forget, they'll save that money for you, make money themselves, and give 10% of it to the battle's end. And we need it. We need it. There's no doubt about that. Listen, all kinds of promotions that I've talked to you about over the more year plus that they've been on board. And man, Tom, you can attest to this. They came up huge for us in the golf tournament too. Tried and True did. I'm excited about what we've got. A Paloma station.
That's correct. There's going to be a Paloma station in your honor. That's we should make it like the Masters, menu. Maybe we should put together all of the events.
I love Palomas.
Served in honor of the JCS. Yeah. So Paloma station, $300 closest to the pin, not hole-in-one contest, closest to the pin, 300 bones to Callaway. And then also door prizes, as in very nice tequila going on after the round is over.
Yeah, and you could listen. Point of sale stuff. People say to themselves, "I don't know." Right? You don't know. Why not go with the group that is just as reliable, if not more so, than the one that you already have processing payments for you, save you money and their fellow Knowles? Make it happen. 844-463-6653. To remember it easier, my friends at Tried and True Consulting have put it out there as 844-I'm-4-Knoll. 844-I'm-4-Knoll.
This is meteorologist Paul Frobley with your real talk.
Governments, ISF knows the importance of defining a clear and detailed strategy. Our friends at ISF can help your organization create a strategy that sets you on a path to success. ISF, your vision plus our expertise brings your brilliant ideas to life. Visit ISF.com to learn more. ISF, solving the future.
Hey, did you see the new portable building from Southeast Portable Buildings? It's like a mansion, but you can move it.
Oh, come on, man. A mansion? It's probably just big enough for your collection of the world's smallest spoons.
You think I'm kidding? This thing has more space than my in-laws' house during the holidays. And I can finally hide from them in style.
Well, I guess if you need a place to escape or maybe to store your emergency cheese stash, Southeast Portable Buildings has you covered.
Exactly. They've got models for every taste, from classic classic to modern. Plus, they're built to last longer than my New Year's resolutions.
Well, speaking of resolutions, I resolved to get one of those buildings for my backyard barbecue empire. Imagine the grilling space.
So Tallahassee, don't wait. Get your own slice of portable paradise at Southeast Portable Buildings.
Yeah, give them a call today, 850-580-6400. That's 850-580-6400 or online at southeastportablebuildings.com.
Because sometimes you just need to escape, even if it's just to the backyard.
There he is. Haven't seen this guy since, what was it? Oh, shoot. U2 at the Sphere in Las Vegas, baby.
Hey, how about that, man? Wasn't that fun?
Good show. Good show. Everything about it. Nearly perfect. Nearly perfect.
I had everything I could possibly want.
I wanted one thing, couldn't find it, and I looked everywhere. No Cubans.
What do you mean?
No Cubans.
There was Cubans.
No, I didn't see any Cubans.
Dude, I'm sure there was Cubans there. I mean,
No. I walked around. There was a moment right before the show. I thought, got to find some Cubans. Nothing.
Dude, there's Cubans. There was Cubans. I'm sure there was Cubans.
In Las Vegas?
In Las Vegas.
No Cubans in Vegas.
There's Cubans in Vegas, man.
Eddie, there were no Cubans.
Chef.
The sandwich. There were no Cuban sandwiches. You're Cuban. Of course I know there were Cubans there.
Oh, the sandwich. Yeah, no, there probably wasn't many there in Vegas.
No Cubans.
No, not yet.
Florida, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
Short segment, so I'll ask you. I haven't had a chance to talk about it much. Don't want to dwell on it because it's going to be a negative for us, I think, at the end of the night. But were you up for the end of the Duke-Houston game, or did you at any point click it off, assuming it was over, understandably?
Yes to your final question, because there was some thought that they were choking it away earlier in the second half. They righted the ship. They got it back to 9.
64-55 with 3 minutes to play.
Yeah,
Yes.
I thought it was 53. Either way, I saw that I did not watch 1 second of that game. I watched the end of the Florida-Auburn game, unfortunately. And I thought, oh, well, okay, they've extended this thing back out. Under a few minutes to go, they're going to win. And I woke up and went, oh, no. Oh, no. Okay. Great. Just awesome. Here we go. Here's your 10-point win over Houston.
Yeah.
They're going to win to the point where their kids can come out at the coaches can pull them out of the game and they get applauded. That's what I feel is coming tonight. If it doesn't, forevermore a Houston Cougar, because they already mean a lot to me.
I know.
More tonight.
Yeah, I know from your NCAA football
That
days.
is right.
Yeah. Oh, man. Yeah, no, you're right. At one point, it was 59-45 with 8 minutes to play.
I was watching MLB and I saw on social media, is Duke going to choke this thing away? And so by the time I saw that, I went to just a score update and I saw they was back at 9. Like, oh, we're golden. I'm all right. I've watched enough baseball, a lot of baseball today, clickety-do, and then I went to bed.
Well, it's 6 with under a minute to play.
Yeah, I didn't see that particular part of the meltdown until post-fact. Yeah.
They didn't get a stop on any of Houston's final 7 possessions.
I've seen more than I want to see in this NCAA tournament of guys running from the paint outward towards the three-point line with their back to the basket, turning around, just throwing it up, and having it go the way that I don't need it to go.
I've also, it's funny. One thing that I do like is usually in the tournament, one of the things that I enjoy watching is, and it's tough. I got to imagine it's very tough. But, 1-1, the old 1-1 is a toughie. That front end of a 1-1 when there's a lot on the line. And it's got to be tough to wrap your mind around if you're a Duke fan that you had a guy going to the line shooting 70% and he missed his, and they had a guy with 62% free throw shooter bang both of his without a problem.
Sounds like you watched this very closely.
Oh, I was watching. But I was just sitting there going, oh, it's going to happen. You're going to lose this game. Yeah. Listen, I'm not ever going to feel bad for Duke. But I needed him here for 2 reasons. A, they defensively and athletically, I thought had the best chance to beat Florida. I thought going into the tournament, Florida had the best team with the most ridiculously clutch and dynamic player. And he has owned the day. And there's nothing you can say but good on you, kid. You're just a stud. He makes everything happen. Every time you watch them play, you're like, when they have to have it, that son of a bitch is going to make a play. And that's going to be the hardest thing in recruiting, right? Like, this guy was a football star. And he's turned into what he is now on the basketball floor. Not that he couldn't play basketball, but he was a football star.
Yeah, usually it goes the other way.
Right. And so you're kind of watching that and you're like, oh, whatever. He's got dynamic athleticism. He's what he is. But you didn't think he's going to be to this level. But he's a star. And the moments that are embraced by those kinds of kids, when you watch it happen, you can see this tournament has revealed a lot of stars. They're not always guys that project to the next level. They're not always guys that project to be elite at the next level. But they were tournament stars. And we remember them. How many times have you flipped on an NBA game and gone like, oh, remember the run he had with Marquette? Remember that? He was averaging 27 a game in the tournament when he was at Villanova or whatever it might be. And he's a role player in the NBA. He's just what he is. But he made the league. He made his money with that magical run. And I don't know if that'll be the case here, but man, when you find a kid who's that kind of clutch, watching him, Clayton Jr., make the kind of plays that he's made in the biggest moments, many of them rather improbable, to your point, hand in the face, good defense, and it just goes. When you do it that many times in a row, it's not happenstance. It's not an accident. You're a kid who rises to the moment, and they got that guy. And I don't know how to identify that. I don't know. I mean, meaning in recruiting, how do you do it? You kind of luck into it a little bit.
You have to. Yeah, well, you just take chances on dudes with incredible athletic profiles, and some of them will hit. Some of them will hit big for you. Sometimes you get super lucky on a kid that you didn't project to do much of anything.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we hit on quite a few of those here in the 2.0 run. Cabangale is the best example. We were on him when he was a 2-guard, and then he grew into this other thing, and he already knew how to shoot from the perimeter. What you had to teach him was a little bit more of the post and how to get a little bit more physical around the basket, and that's what turned him into an NBA pick. But that was luck. Like, you're on him early, and he had skills, but he didn't have that kind of skills where he was a matchup nightmare. So sometimes you luck into those things. Now, obviously, this is a higher caliber of all things. But yeah, I'll be watching baseball tonight, and we'll find out what happens.
One thing I'll say, and this is how you know that Florida's a deep team and a talented team, and I hope they lose tonight. And in Houston's, as gritty as they come, so maybe they uglify it in a way that is very listen, they've done that to everybody. They make every game
defense. It could happen.
Yeah, and they make every game a mess. They make every game ugly. They are mentally and physically tough. They are all those things. They yuck it up. They do that. The one thing I'll say, and this is I hate having to compliment, but just being realistic, Florida has yet to play an A game. They've turned it over a gazillion times. They've sent people to the free throw line far too often. They've had games where for an entire half they're a mess. And then it's like even the Auburn game where there they are at one point down 9, they go into half trailing, and then just like that, a blink of the eye, the switch is flipped. You ought not be able to do that, and only really talented teams can. And they've done that, and he does that. And it's Clayton's got another gear. He's got another gear when they got to have it, even if he's not making the baskets. He's the guy that is going to the basket, kicking out to a wide open 3. Then that ignites, and the next thing you know, they begin to believe, and there you have it.
Yeah, maybe they just are setting themselves up for the largest gag of all, and it would be great. They will usurp Texas Tech and Duke, and you'll say, "Wow, this was the tournament of gag jobs."
Well,
and Florida was the king.
Well, but Duke didn't choke against Florida. Duke choked against Houston.
No, I'm just saying, a tournament of it.
Yeah,
just a tournament of wow. Can you believe it? I can only use the Reggie Miller animation so much, but I have to keep using it because these teams just one up each other. Tech was spectacular. Duke was unfathomable. And then Florida was up 6 points with 22 seconds to go and somehow lost in regulation. Oh, my.
Well, wouldn't that be something, Tom? Wouldn't that be something at the end of the day,
Tuesday.
buddy? I too would love it. Hey,
it'd be very angry Tuesday at Condon Ballpark down there tomorrow.
Can you, by the way, flash on the screen so that we let everybody know the good things that we've got coming up here? That is right. There it is on your screen right now. We do this every year, especially because obviously the tournament itself, thankfully, fills up very quickly. And listen, I apologize to anybody who was wanting to play, who had a team, wanted to get in and missed out. It happens. It happens. And that's why I try to warn you repeatedly. Like when we announce the date of the tournament, you got to be ready to roll. you got to be ready to roll. I know there are some frustrated folks out there, and again, we greatly appreciate you, but there's only so many carts that they have and so many people we can have and still conduct a smooth tournament. Let's put it that way. But there are ways for those people who didn't get an opportunity to participate to help out. And that's really what it's all about, is the stuff we're trying to do to benefit the second harvest of the Big Bend. And so we'll do a giving show on Monday, April the 14th. That's 1 week from today, 1 week from right now, Monday, April the 14th. That show, you guys helped us out a year ago. You've helped us out in previous shows with the Guardian Ad Litem. There's so many giving people out there. One of the things that I've been most excited about over the years with this medium, with this opportunity, is to connect with the community. Because what happens is it restores your faith in humanity. Because what happens is this community rises up. The people, the listeners of the Jeff Cameron Show, the citizens of Tallahassee, they step in, boom, they contribute. And people who need it most directly benefit because of that generosity. And I'm going to be forever grateful for that. It's probably what I'll take away, along with several other great memories over the years when this is all over. But Monday, April the 14th. That's 1 week from today. So have it on your mind, book it on your calendar, be ready to help out in any way you can. We'll do the giving show, and we'll have it set up like we always do through YouTube, where you don't have to worry about anything. 100% of the profits will go to the second harvest of the Big Bend.
100% of everything, not no profits, because that would denote that there's a net. Proceeds.
Proceeds.
People are very careful about that, and we appreciate that. We've been vetted several times on chat, via email.
Oh, I'm happy we are. Yeah, there's nothing to hide here.
And it's great that Google services allows us to just go straight through. It passes through Google and nobody else, and every cent makes its way to where it's supposed to go. But Second Harvest supporting more than a dozen counties in the Big Bend area with all sorts of programs: senior nutrition, child nutrition, disaster relief, all that. And we know what hurricane season has done to us in the Big Bend area, areas to our east, much more than Tallahassee proper. Well, the Second Harvest supports all of those areas.
Yeah.
So we really, really are asking for your help.
Red Zone coming up. We pushed it to today because Tom knew you'd have a ton of questions for me.
Still do.
Deriving from, of course, the scrimmage from Saturday that I was at. So we'll get to it next. Final hour forthcoming. Power hour, bonus hour next.
Whidden Glass has been taking care of business since 1945. When you call Whidden Glass, you're dealing with experienced, reliable professionals who offer only the best. Like Whidden's top-of-the-line bath enclosures that provide style and luxury at an affordable price. Eye-catching storefronts are a specialty at Whidden Glass. We'll help you design it and install it. Whidden Glass, the first name in glass replacement. Call 222-5781.
What makes Paul's Termite and Pest Control the best in North Florida?
It's our core values, of course, and they happen to spell Paul's.
P, protecting you and your pets from pests and your property from termites.
A, accept personal responsibility. At Paul's, we realize it's up to us to get things right and strive to do more than's expected.
U, uphold company values. Those values include treating others with respect and understanding we represent Paul's Pest Control on and off the clock.
L, look the part. As representatives of this great company, we will always make sure that our image matches the character of Paul's.
S, support the team. Every job we do is a total team effort to create a supportive workplace.
P, protecting you, your pets, and your property. A, accept personal responsibility. U, uphold company values. L, look the part. S, support the team. Paul's core values. They make us the best.
For the elimination of termites and other pests.
And a greener lawn, too.
Call Paul's. We'll get them all.
Hey, everybody, this is Shannon Young with Cross Country Mortgage. Been in the industry now for 22 years. I just made the move over to the nation's largest retail lender, Cross Country Mortgage, here to serve you in 7 states, including Florida, Georgia, Alabama, the Carolinas, Tennessee, and the state of Texas. Here to offer better service, better rates, and if you were thinking about buying or if you've been on the fence and been waiting to call me, now is the time. You can still find me at loansforknowles.com. That is, again, loans loansforknowles.com. I've helped thousands of fellow Knowles get into their dream home, and I can't wait to help you get into yours. Give me a call today. I'm at 954-369-6171, or go to loansforknowles.com. Again, that's 954-369-6171, and that's loansforknowles.com.
Equal housing lender, NMLS 373031.
From the championship stage to coaching change and everything in between, Warchant.com remains your home for the best FSU football coverage in the business. Brutally honest columns and features, market-leading multimedia presence across video and podcast, the largest FSU fan community with a staff that combines for over 100 years of experience covering the Noles. When change comes, Warchant.com is your home for analysis from every angle. Warchant.com, your ultimate Seminole sports source. Sign up today.
WVFT, Gretna, Tallahassee. This is Real Talk 93.3. More of the Jeff Cameron Show is coming up next. Your sports flash update on Real Talk 93.3 in Tallahassee.
Florida Gators gunning for their third national championship in men's basketball tonight, facing Houston and San Antonio. The Gators beat Auburn in the Final Four, while Houston had a late come-from-behind victory over Duke. The Gators last won the national championship in 2007. Gas guard Denny Hamlin won the Goodyear 400 at Darlington Sunday, beating out William Byron in overtime. Hamlin winning back-to-back races. Byron led 243 laps, but had to settle for a second-place finish. The Orlando Magic back in action Tuesday night, hosting the Atlanta Hawks. They have 4 games left on the regular season. Orlando has won 6 of 8. They last played Thursday in a win against the Washington Wizards, and they're currently 7th in the Eastern Conference playoff standing. And in golf, it's Masters Week, round 1 at Augusta National on Thursday. Bundle auto and home, renters or condo, and save with Progressive. I'm Tony Desiri, Real Talk 93.3.
Springfest deals are still in full swing at Lowe's. Right now, get 5 bags of Stay Green Premium Color 2 cubic foot mulch for only $10. And get up to 40% off select major appliances. Plus, save up to $300 when you buy 2 or more select GE kitchen appliances of $396 or more. Lowe's, we help, you save. Valid through 4/16, excludes Alaska and Hawaii. Selection varies by location while supplies last. See Lowe's.com for more details and qualifying items.
Why'd I go to the doctor? One day at the firehouse, I was so lightheaded I could barely stand. Even my crew noticed. Getting checked out was the right call. Turns out I have atrial fibrillation, which increases the risk of stroke about 5 times.
Symptoms like irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain, shortness of breath, fatigue, or lightheadedness can come and go. But if it's AFib, the risk of stroke remains. If you have symptoms, contact a doctor.
I'm so glad I did.
Visit NoTimeToWait.com, sponsored by Bristol Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
Here's a tip to keep it cool from E&B Heating and Air. Your outdoor unit works better if it's clean and clear of debris. Plants, grass, weeds, and trees can reduce performance, raising your power bill. Visit ENBHeatandAir.com to get a free quote today.
Choose Hearth and Patio for custom fireplaces, maintenance, outdoor grills, kitchens, fire pits, lighting, and so much more. Check out all of Hearth and Patio's options online at hearthpatiotallahassee.com. Hearth and Patio, they keep the home fires burning.
Porterman, you're walking crooked again. What happened to you?
Well, I was sitting at the boat ramp sipping on a margarita when my alligator Hank decided we needed to go water skiing.
Oh, no.
Next thing you know, Hank's strapped to 4 skis and I'm hanging on his back and the boat is pulling us out. It was all going great till Hank spotted a duck in the lily pads and wanted to jump the wake.
Porterman, you're crazy. No wonder you got hurt.
Yep, 1 second it's air, water, air, then bam, now I can't even bend over to put on my own water skis.
Well, Porterman, you better get over to Thin Chiropractic right now. You can book an appointment online and take advantage of the new patient special.
Special offer online? That's easier than wrestling an airboat off a sandbar.
That's right. Just go to thinchiro.com. FENNCHIRO.com. FENNCHIRO.com.
That's it. I'm headed over there boogity to get straightened out.
T-Spark Enterprises, roofing and construction services. T-Spark, T-SparkConstruction.com. We conquer all peaks. We fix those dark leaks. Call 850-766-134. T-Spark Enterprises, roofing and construction services. T-Spark. tfarconstruction.com.
CCC 1331204.
Florida's capital city. This is the Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness on Real Talk 93.3. Now, stop what you're doing and listen closely. It's time for the Jeff Cameron Show in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
I got to get locked in. It's time to bet. Won some money in a couple of my leagues over the weekend. As an aside, I don't know if that's good or bad news. We'll see. It's tough to do back-to-back, and I'd rather win this week because it is the Masters. But I feel good about the data is that, look, this tournament can be won by short hitters, long hitters, and everybody in between. So it gets everybody involved, and away we go. There will be that. Now, you want to do red zone first segment, second segment? Where do you want to go? Because I was going to lean into resetting takeaways from the scrimmage, and I figured you'd rather us reset that while doing red zone.
Yeah, do you want a broad stroke reset and then I hit red zone, or do you want me to lead with red zone and ask more general questions? Because I've got a lot. I mean, I could throw away so many downs of questions.
Do you think it's going to be 2 drives? You want to do like 2 or 3 drives? Like we got the ball in overtime?
I think your answers may spurn more questions. It could be that way. So I could really make this as though it was a service academy drive.
Oh, okay.
So I could do that. 18 plays, 11:02 off the clock.
Well, I say we hit the sounder and help our friends from Artisan Financial Strategies, NoelRetirement.com, and have some fun with it. And, it's just a lot of first downs. We'll just keep the drive alive, Tom. We'll just keep going. It's a lot more than 4 downs.
Welcome to the majesty. Every freaking rep. The elegance. To win the game. Oh, he hits the upright. It's no good. You have entered.
Someone burned down the funeral home. You burnt the funeral home.
Lives will be changed.
Sideline. Touchdown. Unbelievable.
Mothers will cry.
When you see your players give all that they have and you lose that way, it's tough.
Legacies are etched into eternity.
I know who I am.
North, South Dakota was his brother from West Virginia.
This is the Red Zone.
That's good to know.
NoelRetirement.com, scoring in the retirement red zone. My man, Adam Tolliver, he and his crew at Artisan Financial Strategies helping you financially plan, estate and legacy planning, risk management, investment management, business succession, exit strategy, you name it, they do it. 30-plus years of experience, all the tools that you need to ensure that you get the best advice. And, again, those resources, not for nothing. Adam is a kick-ass, loyal, smart, hardworking man, fellow Noel. So is his team at Artisan Financial Strategies. To learn more, NoelRetirement.com. First down, big drive. Let's go.
I got a long drive, so I'm going to ask a basic one on first down. Get us started. Mike Norvell's presence at this scrimmage, I know we haven't seen previous scrimmages, but versus his presence at practice in years and camps past, anything different stand out to you?
I thought he was, fired up the way a coach would be when they have an opportunity to scrimmage, and in a good way. I actually thought his demeanor was fine. I got to be careful because let me explain something really interesting here. So we were in the catwalk for those just joining us in this third hour here. Only scrimmage that any of us are going to get to see. We've not seen scrimmages in the past. We have seen practices, no practices this year, but they do give us the scrimmage. Full pads, all live, getting after it. That's the backdrop. if you're going to see something, I was excited to see that. I would like to shout out the officer who pulled me over on my way to practice and say, thank you, sir.
Damn it. That was one of my questions.
Okay.
Oh,
well, I was traversing about town faster than the speed limit. Not crazy fast. I didn't think I was that much faster than the speed limit. Just saying, sir. But I got pulled over.
He knows where you live.
Yeah.
He ran your plate.
Yes. He saw that it was squeaky clean. And so what ended up happening was I got pulled over and the officer was very friendly, very professional. I had a little wiggle room. I wasn't going to be late. It was important to not be late for this scrimmage. And then I was late because it takes time to run the plate and do all the thing. And we had a little conversation. It was very pleasant and just told me to slow down. And I left.
After much deliberation?
Well, there's always too much for my liking. But, yeah, that's how it went. And then I got there. And so I was a couple of minutes late. Now, that doesn't mean anything because, truthfully, they weren't doing anything at the beginning anyhow. But because we were up in the catwalk, it was an entirely different way by which you had to be led into the stadium. And I wasn't there for it. So there was nobody there.
IPF, just for clarification.
Oh, excuse me. The IPF. You're right. Yep. Indoor practice facility. So there's always so much GD construction and stuff going on over there, man. And I didn't know how to get to the catwalk. So I was like, well, I don't want to break all these rules. They're sticklers on the rules over here. I don't know what to do, but I couldn't just sit out there like an a-hole. So I just walked in. Down below amongst the recruits, stood there with the recruits. Now, I knew that would be frowned upon. I didn't want to make a scene. I didn't want to get called out. I could just picture it. One of the coaches, what are you doing? Why are you down here? So I didn't. And so I texted, and they do a great job over there. And I texted the powers that be and said, hey, I'm down on the sideline. I'm not trying to sneakily watch this thing. I want to be where I'm supposed to be. So then they informed me how to get up to the catwalk. So anyhow, once you get up to the catwalk, a little precarious up there. Anyhow, once you get up there, great view. Love it. I don't think you could ask for a better view. That's
anybody on the beat have heights issues?
I have heights issues, but I was okay with it. I was fine with it. It was sturdy enough. I didn't flip out. You're not so high up that you're like
rock as you were walking on it.
There was one step that was a little shaky of a step. There's one, and I was like, okay, that's not cool. But you got the sense that if you shook it, the whole thing could come down.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, we got up there, and so I was a little late. And anyhow, watched. I love that view. That's the film view that you get. That's the eye in the sky. It's perfect. You can see everything the way that it was meant to be. And Norvell's demeanor was intense, but it always is at practice / scrimmage. But I don't think he was uptight or acting strangely or anything like that. He was just his normal self.
Laying it down, like, the press conferences that we talked about on Friday, things like that.
Yeah. Again, I'm not allowed to say what he said afterwards to the team, so I won't. But, he's a head coach that's wanting to get the most out of people.
Okay. Well, on second down, I guess essentially you're getting a game day-like sense of what the coordinators are going to look like. I suppose one or both of them could retreat into a coach's box versus, being on the field.
I'd be surprised by that.
I would too, but this is where the second down question comes in. I'll start with Tony White. Game day, demeanor, presence, location is what from the scrimmage?
Yeah, he's intense like you'd think he would be. He's very, very vocal. I think he's also very, very positive. There were a few exceptions there, but I think for the most part, I noticed a guy who's really uplifting. Again, they're teaching right now. They're doing a lot of teaching. So there's positive reinforcement for the guys that get it right over and over again. And then there are moments to teach when guys are out of place. I don't know if that'll change much, probably quite a bit, maybe by the time we get around to a game day. So as far as I can tell, Tony's a guy right now just making sure, do you know where you're supposed to be and why? And if you do it right, you're going to get a attaboy. You're going to get a slap on the ass, and there we go. You're going to get positive encouragement and reinforcement when you got a guy. Listen, there was not I'll tell you this, there was not loafing like there was last year. There were no moments of that. So I didn't get to see him react negatively to anything. I didn't get to see him flip out about a guy maybe not giving effort, because the effort was there. It was one of the most positive elements about the practice was that I thought everybody gave good effort.
Okay. Third down, Gus Malzahn's persona on a game day and on the sideline.
He was primarily locked into that play sheet and the group that they were subbing in and out, because they were when they would run, 11 on 11 with the offense trying to go. It wasn't as fast as it had been in, maybe some other practices that they alluded to, but it's still this idea that you're going to have moving parts and different people coming in. So he was over to the sideline, game sheet in hand, play sheet in hand. Mike was still the one out on the field doing the yelling. So what you saw from him was really much more about the next play.
He's still flanked by assistants. It's such a new day and age as a follow-up to third down, because you have helmet communication, so you don't necessarily need to have assistants signaling. Are they still doing that kind of stuff?
No, I didn't see any of that.
No props?
I didn't. No,
at third down, money down?
I didn't see any of that.
No third down, money down?
Well, I didn't see the over the top.
Well, that would be a welcome development.
Agreed.
All right. Fourth down of the first series of downs. Defensive communication on the field. How'd you feel about it?
Good. It was really good. And that got talked about. And I think they've got some guys that they trust to do that. Guys that they believe are in a good position to consistently make sure guys get lined up. The linebackers did a good job of that. I thought, again, I thought for the most part, I didn't see anything glaring where there was mass confusion. The offense blew a couple of opportunities to hit the defense when there was some confusion, but just play wasn't executed. Play wasn't executed, and so it didn't happen. But for the most part, guys got lined up, ready to go.
Offensively, a new series of downs. We made it. We've extended
first down, easy first down.
Yeah. Offensively, flow to it in terms of substitutions and/or was there sloppiness? I'm talking infractions, things like that. Generally speaking,
I thought it was a convoluted sort of on offense. I think. Not because of confusion, but again, with all the players that were out, they had a lot of, for those that missed the first hour, they had a ton of guys that are going to play critical roles for them that were not out there playing. So I think that probably affected some of what they were trying to do. It wasn't a stop-start mess. There were penalties, but nothing that where I was like, oh my God, again.
Second down of the following freshmen, which impressed you the most? Or off the board if you want to go off the board. Boggs, Sperry, Arnaud.
Ooh, well, Arnaud was great. I like Arnaud. He had a good day. I think he's going to be a good player. But at the end of the day, Sperry being the more important player, given he's a quarterback, and there's a reason that Gus still talks about him after every practice. It seems like he got asked about him again after this scrimmage, and he alluded to the fact that he thought he was very, very good, that there's a lot of natural stuff there. Now, you guys would see that. You'd see that interview, and you'd say, okay, well, you're just regurgitating what he said. But having the context, because I watched it during the scrimmage, I understand why he's excited. I don't know how good a player that kid's going to be. I do know that he's hit the ground running his freshman season in his first ever practice or spring with FSU football. He seems comfortable, very comfortable. He's quick. He's a good runner. I mean, I don't know that that'll ever change. Wherever he plays football, whether it's here or somewhere else or whatever happens, he's going to be a good runner. You can see that. He understands angles. He sets guys up. He makes people miss. He's got some shake to him. He's a good runner.
Is there a running quarterback that you would liken him to that pops into your head? I know there's a ton of different varieties. I'm just trying to get a sense of to picture who he would look like.
Well, the problem is, look, I think the problem is that he's a 6'1" white guy from Texas?
Denton, Texas.
Yeah. Okay. So what's going to happen? He's going to be compared to Baker Mayfield. And, there I see it. In terms of running, I think he's probably
faster.
I think he's faster.
Okay, that would be nice.
Yeah,
it's not that Baker's speed doesn't play at the NFL, but you could tell.
No, I think he's faster.
Okay, I'm going to go off the board. I think we're on third down the second time through.
Third and short.
Yeah, Lofton, the freshman. I caught remarks about Lofton, the tight end, on the phone after you were done on Saturday. But what do you think after reflecting?
Versatility. I think he's going to be an interesting player. Look, I mean, so, new to the offense, but given his length and He seems very comfortable very quickly. I know why they've bragged about him, so I paid attention to him. Because they've bragged about him, I thought, okay, well, let's see what this kid's all about. And he got, plenty of reps. I don't want to say how often and all that stuff without getting in trouble, but he got plenty of reps. And he's so long. I mean, it's going to be hard. He's 6'6", and he's 220 plus pounds. I got to put some weight on him. But yeah, I know why they like him. He flashed. Now, again, they had troubles getting the ball down the field. So I'm not telling you he made big plays. He didn't make any big plays, but he was consistent catching the football when they went to him.
Of the two offensive linemen, presumed starters, transfers specifically that were out there, Medley and Pettibon, who did you like?
Pettibon. I liked them both, but Pettibon was the one. Pettibon was the one because I didn't see any problems with snaps whatsoever. And when they did play quickly, he was good. He was good at identifying no problems. They were ready to go.
How pleased were you about that development?
So they're going to look, guys, no secret here. Tom has pointed this out many times, and he's right. If you go back and look at Gus Malzahn's offense over the years, they're going to do this. One of the reasons the run numbers are so good is because he does not ever go away from it. He's going to run the ball. And by hook or by crook, you're going to get your yardage totals because he's going to run 2nd and 7, 3rd and 2. He's just going to keep running. Tom, I don't want to give away. The offense is the offense, right? And I think they were limited because, again, they didn't have the downfield threats due to injury at wide receiver. But it put an even greater emphasis on them to move the ball, running the football, and having some success doing it. And they are going to get lined up, and they are going to hammer the center of the line. They are going to go up the gut. I know I thought I was going to say something else there. That's going to be very important. The guard and center play is going to be very important. Here we go. It's now. It's right now. You get that. Okay, 2nd and 6. We may run it right now again. And it can lull you into a bit of a sleep there where you're going, nothing's explosive. Next thing you know, it's 3rd and 1. It's always manageable.
Right.
There's a lot of manageable third downs from what I could tell with what they were doing. And it's because they're committed to running the football. And they rotated a ton of the guys. None of the running backs were special. None of the running backs stood out. None of the running backs made big plays. But nobody put the ball on the ground. They took their hits. They got their whatever yardage was there to be gained. Nothing above and beyond that. There were no plays where you're like, oh, that was all him. But they got up and we ran it again.
We're back to a new first down. Is there anything that you now know about Tommy Castellanos that you did not know before?
I've always heard he was incredibly competitive. That stood out. He wants to lead this team. I think that there is a rumor. There have been whispers. Let's put it that way. There are whispers that he can be a bit of a pain in the ass. Now, listen, that's not always a bad thing depending on the position that you play. But I've had sources tell me before, yeah, he's kind of a pain in the ass. He's not everybody's cup of tea. All right. The only pain in the ass I saw was the fact that he cares deeply, which is a good problem. And 2, if he's not out there, he wants to be out there. And he'll let you know he'd like to be out there. So I got no problem with that. I got no problem with a guy that wants the football. I got no problem with a guy who wants to lead. I got no problem with a guy who's fiery about that. I don't know what he's like in the locker room. I'm not in that locker room. He's barely been here. We'll see, but I just know that he cares deeply.
2nd down defensive swarm level, 1 to 5 rating. What would you give it?
Yeah, they were able to swarm on almost every play. They've clearly gotten that message home. They've got the message home that we are going to the football. We are going to wherever it is. We are going to the football.
I know that's something that matters. It matters to me too, but it matters to you greatly.
Yeah, because that's how you play defense.
So you were pleased with what you saw in that regard?
Yeah, and they hit. They were hitting. Yes, I was fine with that. I don't know how good they're going to be. I don't want people to extrapolate this to say they're going to be really good because I don't know if they have the requisite depth and overall talent that's necessary to be a great defense. But I do think they have the right mentality. I think they're being coached right. I think they're going to care. I think they're going to play hard.
3rd down, physical players on the day. It could be offense or defense, but maybe some dudes. You already mentioned Earl Little.
Yeah, and I liked Arnaud, by the way. That's for a freshman.
He's physicality.
Well, he's a big kid. He cares. Okay. He's 6'2", 200 pounds. I mean, he's a freshman, but he's got a little something to him. The Pittman kid was very, very physical. Number 13, the kind of H-back tight end. He's very physical. Ran a guy over. I won't say who, but it was embarrassing. It happens. It's football. But he did. Was very, very physical. I thought Omar Graham had a good day. Really played well. Deontay McCray played well. I'm probably forgetting some guys there, but I was impressed. Oh, well, yeah, I already mentioned Earl Little Jr. He runs around and hits you.
What about the Desir twins was impressive to you?
Body type?
So they're large.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I wrote that down in my notes. I was kind of, I didn't know what to think going in. Me, when it comes to recruiting, I want to wait and see until I see them on a football field what they are. I'm not watching too much of their huddle tape, that kind of stuff. I do occasionally, especially if somebody says, "Hey, you really need to see this dude. It's a little bit different," then I'll do it. But I usually try to get an eye on a guy and see what he brings to the table. And I thought from body type wise, they are big kids. Yeah.
I sense this will have a negative answer, so it'll be penultimate question or penultimate down. If that was the group, that was the roster that played. So the people that were unavailable,
all the people that were missing,
right?
Oh, we'd be screwed.
Yeah,
we'd be screwed.
What would you set their over under win total at for the season?
6, maybe.
Okay, so 5.5 trending.
Yeah.
Okay,
but now again, I want to reiterate something.
They're missing a lot.
They're missing all the explosive that is. There was no Deuce Robinson, no Jalen Brown, no LaWayne McCoy,
Squirrel,
no Squirrel White. No, I mean they were missing a lot on offense. And remember, at running back, no Chroma, who's supposed to be a difference maker when he gets here.
Micah Pettis, Gunnar Hansen.
Yeah, I mean, you're missing 2 offensive tackles. You're missing they were missing a lot of what would potentially make this offense much, much better. So I just want to make it abundantly clear that I don't think it would be fair for me to extract from this that they're going to be dreadful. But if they lined up tomorrow and that was the starting unit, they'd be screwed.
All right, final question, final untimed down. Frankly, the way that you're describing this is a personal aside today is more positive than it was when you were leaving practice. Why?
Because I was upset that nobody in the running back room did anything to really stand out. And there wasn't a ton of athleticism where I would say, golly, look at all the fast twitch. I just didn't see any of that. And I'll stand by that. I don't think there was a ton there that you would, when compared to the better teams in the country, would allow you to line up and really compete at a playoff level. We play in the ACC. We're coming off of 2 wins. Can we get to 7-8 wins as we're currently constructed without that level of athleticism that I'd like to see? I think we could, but I don't think you could do any real damage to the better teams in college football without adding to this roster. I'm a little frustrated by that. There were some things that I should make mention. There was there's the Suarez kid was kind of a nice little player. I mentioned, I think it was number 15 was a pretty decent player. Another one of these receivers that I hadn't seen before. I thought Otto looked good on the offensive line.
They've revealed they're using him at center a little bit more this camp.
Yeah. So they're, but I just recognizing that they didn't have everybody that they're going to have. I mean, I don't know. They were lacking a little athleticism.
Yeah, 15 is Boggs. So just double check.
Yeah. So 15, he was in my notes. He played all right.
Okay. Anything flag, I suppose, here's the real last down. Anything about the operation that stood out? Because it's a whole lot of new coaches, new coordinators, new underlings, and I know it's a scrimmage, so it's not about going station to station across 24 periods, but did anything operationally stand out to you?
So you just hit the nail on the head. I think the only way to tell that would be to see a practice, not a scrimmage. Scrimmage is what it is. It's a game. You're not going to really see anything about how they operate. You're just not.
So last week I got a call from a staff member here who said, sorry, man, you're not going to make the cut, to go to the scrimmage because there is limited space. And I'm a psycho. I said, it really doesn't matter to me. I'd actually like to see practice more because I want to see the building blocks. And I know that we're not allowed to, and that's that's their policy. It's no big deal. But if you gave me access to one event,
you'd rather go to a practice.
I'm nuts like that. I would rather go to a straight practice.
Well, I think in retrospect, I probably would too. And when I look back on it, not that I'm not happy that I got to go to the scrimmage, but you're right. You don't get to see that because they're operating like it's a game. So I'm not getting to see those building blocks you're talking about. I mean, you're calling the next play, you're on to the next play, another personnel group comes in, and you don't really get a chance to see, the build up to that. So I really can't help you there. I can't help you at all.
Was it clocked? And he said that they were going to do a mix of situations, but did it resemble a game to you?
Not like you would on a Saturday. It wasn't completely
More like a
like
spring
that.
game?
Yeah, more something like that. Yeah. I mean, but there were long stretches where it was a game, where it was a real game. Like, 2nd and 7 and 2nd and 7. They're not respotting the ball and telling you that it's something that it's not. It's 2nd and 7. And if it's 3rd and 3, it's 3rd and 3. Like, in fact, Norvell settled for a field goal on a play where Castellanos got the first down. So they screwed him out of getting the first down. So if this had been a game, you would not have had to kick the field goal. It was a first down, but they screwed it up. And he didn't fight to say that it was a first down. I think it's because he wanted to see the field goal unit. But in a game, he would have said, no, man, that's a first down. You can review that, whatever. And I would have liked them to force the issue because I don't want to settle for field goals. And I would like to be in the mentality, especially where they were on the field. I don't think you're kicking a field goal there, frankly. But probably because he wanted to see it, right? You want to see that you got a new kicker.
Thunder leg.
Yeah, you want to see it. I think they would have gone for it if it was 4th and inches, 4th and 1, which is what I think it was when he sent out the field goal unit. I don't think he would have kicked that. So that in that way, it was situational in that part. But that's the one that, he goes out there and makes it. And then there was one that hit the post, and then there was the 55-yarder that could have been good from 65 yards. The kid, again, if you missed it in the first hour, I talked about this. The kid has a cannon for a leg. It's if he can harness it, because he had several kicks that were really impressive, and then a few that were just, where the hell is that? That's.
So that first one against Alabama is important.
Yeah, but I will tell you, he missed one really bad. He missed one he just yanked it. It'd be like if we yanked a drive into the trees.
Might go up the tunnel.
It's like, first tee box, you're not properly warmed up. You yank one into the trees. You're like, oh, a little quick there. Little breakfast ball, boys. Whatever it might be. But he didn't flip out. He was just kind of like, all right, next time he's out there, poof, right down the heart. So that was good. You do get a little bit of the mentality there, because I would think that could fluster you. It didn't fluster him.
Well, we'll see. With 12 different,
with an actual game?
Yes, with 12 different tiers of luxury accommodations behind the sideline, and Doak Campbell being full. I don't know. That might change things a little bit. It's nice to hear that you don't have to think twice after Fitzy, who I wish we used a little bit more of last year, frankly speaking. You don't have to think twice about 4th and 2 at the 36. You could just kick that and take the 53-yarder. I like that. That I think that frees you up a little bit with your play calling.
I've got to ask you, I didn't. So let's see. Did somebody ask me? I haven't been in the chat. Did we get any valid questions here that I need to answer?
No, I mean, there was one about Sperry, but you answered that.
Oh, yeah. Jeff, what did you think of the freshman quarterback? Liked him a lot. He was good. He was good.
So you sound happy with the linebackers.
Yeah, I think for what it was.
Is that too strong of a word?
I think some guys that they're expecting to do good things played well. Like, I want to give Omar Graham credit. I haven't given him a lot of credit in his time here. I know at the end of last year he started making some plays, which was nice to see. I like the kid because I know how hard he works, and I know he cares. So there's passion, and there's what for and want to. He hasn't always been good enough. I think he's played a lot where he's been a bit dinged. So this might be the healthiest I've seen him, and he played faster. And I do think the linebackers were helped out a little bit by the fact that they kind of knew what was – well, I was trying to be positive.
That's me pulling at you. Sorry.
Yeah. No, I think that they've got some better personnel there. The Stephon Thompson kid is 6'1", 240 something, and Herring is going to play in the league, and so they've got some dudes.
I was going to ask you linebacker by linebacker, but then I could step on a landmine and somebody didn't play, so I didn't want to go because we haven't had that discussion,
right? And so we're not allowed to discuss that. I was disappointed that a certain receiver didn't do anything, in my estimation, to show that he's taking a step forward.
That we can name. Hakeem Williams?
Yeah, he didn't.
That's unfortunate. He was active?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we teased that last week when Mike was given an open-ended question opportunity to speak up on Hakeem, and the answer was Jaylen Brown.
Oh, right. He did do that. You're right.
So you would say that Mike was probably
I think he was being accurate.
Shooting us straight?
I think he was shooting us straight. I think, I don't know, maybe he's had hey, by the way, I think the world of Amari Williams. I haven't mentioned him yet today, but that dude is for real. He's, I don't know if they plan on doing it, but you could play him both ways.
He was impressive at edge?
Yeah. He's a good player. You can utilize him in a lot of ways. He's just a good football player. He's, yeah, I like him.
Now,
I like him a lot.
Do you think that has anything to do with no tackles? Well, no presumed starting tackles.
Yeah, I think that the defense that they're going to run needs, for lack of a better term, versatility. And I think that he's a versatile kind of guy. Yeah.
Huh. Okay.
Yeah.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah. So I think what they're going to try to do requires that, and he fits the mold. Yeah.
Was there any special teams?
Just those field goal attempts. We didn't have to do any no punts.
None of the drills?
None of the nonsense. None of the stuff that I have to sit through forever today.
Did you notice the red zone is long concluded. It was a great drive, though. Did you notice in the footage that they released last week, Florida State releases a little bit of video footage that we put on the channel for the media to use as a pool. They still have the walkthrough drill where they run in opposite directions and they turn around. And they have to meet each other. It's still part of it. Just letting you know.
Go to NoelRetirement.com and see what my friends at Artisan Financial Strategies can do for you. That was a 35-minute red zone. We plowed through breaks, buddy. That's what we do at the JCS.
Was a Service Academy drive.
My goodness gracious. We got to call timeout. I'm tired.
The weather is unpredictable and can cause issues around your home. Weston Trawick provides commercial, residential, and industrial electrical wiring services, yearly inspections on fire alarms, portable generator sales, and so much more. With 24/7 emergency service and repair, Weston Trawick will be your calm in the storm. Give them a call at 514-0003. Weston Trawick. Professional electrical services day or night. Visit online at westontrawick.com.
Hey, did you see the new portable building from Southeast Portable Buildings? It's like a mansion, but you can move it.
Oh, come on, man. A mansion is probably just big enough for your collection of the world's smallest spoons.
You think I'm kidding? This thing has more space than my in-laws' house during the holidays. And I can finally hide from them in style.
Well, I guess if you need a place to escape or maybe to store your emergency cheese stash, Southeast Portable Buildings has you covered.
Exactly. They've got models for every taste, from classic to modern. Plus, they're built to last longer than my New Year's resolutions.
Well, speaking of resolutions, I resolved to get one of those buildings for my backyard barbecue empire. Imagine the grilling space.
So Tallahassee, don't wait. Get your own slice of portable paradise at Southeast Portable Buildings.
Yeah, give them a call today, 850-580-6400. That's 850-580-6400 or online at southeastportablebuildings.com.
Because sometimes you just need to escape, even if it's just to the backyard.
Hi, Chris Kraft for Kraft Nissan. Everyday customers of Kraft Nissan are surprised how much less Nissans cost than the car they're driving. So did you know that Nissan has 6 2025 models you can buy, all under $30,000? Start with the least expensive new car in America, under $20,000, the Nissan Versa. Car and Driver ranked Versa #1 in the subcompact car category. The redesigned Nissan Kicks is under $22,000 with more safety features than cars costing 3 times as much. And the hot-selling Sentra has a higher consumer rating than Corolla. That's Real People Reviews, and you can get Sentra for around $22,000 as well. For an affordable EV, an online review stated if you test drive Nissan Leaf and Toyota Prius, you'll definitely drive home the Leaf. Wonder why you see so many Rogues driving all around Tallahassee? In JD Power Test, Rogue beats RAV4 in safety, driving assistance, infotainment, technology, and comfort. 6 vehicles under $30,000. That's why if your car doesn't have a Kraft tag on it, you paid too much, way too much. Kraft Nissan, Tallahassee.
This is a special notice to U.S. taxpayers owing $10,000 or more to the IRS. Tax Relief Advocates is urgently notifying taxpayers that tax relief initiatives are now available that may significantly reduce or eliminate what you owe. If you're afraid of an IRS lien, levy, or wage garnishment, don't lose hope. You can now take advantage of these current relief programs to end all collections, reduce the amount you owe, and resolve your tax problem. Even if you have years of unfiled tax returns or are already in a payment plan, you may still qualify for significant relief. Struggling taxpayers can now get relief they need during these hard economic times. A hotline has been established by tax relief advocates for you to call and see what you qualify for. They are A+ rated with the BBB and have over 1,000 5-star reviews. Don't wait. Call 800-575-7147. 800-575-7147. That's 800-575-7147 or simply visit TRA.com.
Must qualify for enrollment. Results may vary.
Here come the Gators.
Late fires for three. Good. Lob for the rim. Smashed down by Condon.
This is the NCAA National Championship game.
Fouled as he scoops it up and in. Count it. Over to the left wing. Hart for three. Firing, got it off the catch.
Join us live Monday. Pre-game coverage starts at 8 p.m. Eastern on your home for Florida basketball.
Right here on Real Talk 93.3. Brought to you by Fonville Lewis Messer McConaughey.
Of the Warchant.com multimedia network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
That was as thorough as it gets, buddy. Right? I'd guess, by the way, that they'll look a lot different by the end of spring. I think that they had the obvious signs of a team that is still trying to learn what they're doing with the new schemes. So, that's what you got to take into account. Because again, you have, the effort to play fast, not as fast as I think that they're going to play, while also teaching. And I think that they're so diverse on defense in terms of what Tony White's trying to do, and guys are trying to figure it out. They're not even close to a refined, product, and nor should it be. It is spring. It's only halfway through spring. So yeah.
Well, what's frustrating about the injuries more than the injuries themselves is that from an evaluation perspective on defense, the MO on Tony White is when it goes bad is they'll get beat over the top. And so in Saturday's circumstance, they weren't tested in that regard. And yet, even without those top receivers, you're saying that there were a couple of opportunities down the field for the pass offense.
Just a couple.
Sure. But
just a couple.
If you had, So what I heard from the previous couple of weeks is that they were having a little bit of trouble with the backs. The matchups of the backs on certain guys, and maybe there being some wide open dudes. But it sounds like that wasn't much of a concern.
There was a play. I mentioned earlier that there was a couple of opportunities for the offense that wasn't cashed in on. One of them looked like that.
Oh, did? Okay.
One of them did.
That might be a trend.
Yeah.
So that's interesting.
Yeah. Well, I do think that would be to be expected, because Gus is going to, if he can get you on your heels and get you, confused and they're playing fast, it stands to reason you're going to pop a couple easy ones.
Where I would get excited, and just because that offense does seem to, and you don't have to nod if I'm hitting on something here, but it does seem to generate shots because you're so overly concerned with stuff underneath. It's not quite like a true triple option. But if you get Squirrel White back and Deuce can run for his size, there's no doubt there. Jaylen Brown's got speed. Mekhi Danzy will be back in the fall.
Yeah. I'm really excited to see when they get Mekhi
with Jaylen. I mean, you do have 4 or 5 dudes who can turn it loose and fly. And that's in addition to the seam throws with the tight end that we know are a big part of this offense. That's how we got scorched. Pruitt got absolutely killed in the first half on those plays in the title game, and so many games in between for Gus. But that's one that for Florida State fans, we have in our head burned. I mean, they missed one on the first drive of the game. It's a walk-in touchdown. Marshall missed that.
Yeah.
And they still hit on it later.
Well, that's kind of the problem with this, with what you're going to have to do here.
It's a time is a flat circle. You still have a quarterback who might miss that throw.
Correct. Yeah. And you're always going to, because no great quarterback is coming here to run this offense. I mean, not in a traditional sense, not as a great passer. I mean, you're just not going to get him. there's a downside to running this offense. We all know what it is. You're not going to get elite receivers to come here, and you're not going to get an elite quarterback to say yes to come here. You're going to get guys that might work in the system, and that's fine. That's all you need. You're trying to win college football games. I got it. But I do think that that's the downside of what you're trying to run is you're not going to have a guy that's refined, whose mechanics are perfect, who gets that opportunity and the shot play is there, and 9 out of 10 times it's going to be a walk-in.
I think you can get a receiver in this system because the one dude is going to get a ton of targets, and so there would be exposure opportunities there for one guy. But yeah, you're right. It's not going to be a factory.
No, it's going to be hard because it's so easy to recruit against this, I think, if you're talking to a skill position player. Now, that's not true about
running back.
Running back, yeah.
You should get the best here.
You ought to get some good ones.
Interior offensive line play, to your point, you should be able to pull some big-time interior offensive linemen. They're going to get featured every down.
They are, and they're going to be asked to do an awful lot. So, yeah, and they got to be rugged. They got to be tough. They got to, yes, I agree.
Was there any moment where you, and this is general, you don't have to specify, where you go, ooh, I like that, in terms of the wrinkle that either of the coaches put together? I know they're still installing, so the answer might be no. But where you go, ooh, that's tricky. That would be an issue.
No.
Damn.
Well, I just don't. I mean, I don't. That's not totally fair.
So there's no hope for the season.
They were just doing. It was tough for them. I think they were trying to do. They were teaching. They were still installing, and they were missing so many players. So I just, again, I want to point out, I don't think it's fair. I knew when I walked out of there that it was going to be tough for me to describe anything. I think Ira's approach was correct when he said, when we had him on last hour, like, hey, it's pretty obvious that this is going to be run for Tommy, that they're going to run this system for Tommy Castellanos, that this is going to be where it's going to showcase his skill set. And I think that's true. So that makes for an understanding of what they're trying to do, but it does not allow you to have too many descriptions of big moments in a scrimmage like this.
In its own way, that's reassuring to hear, because as much as I didn't want the system or the quarterback on an island, when you put them together, at least he's not arriving here trying to prove to the world that he can be a pocket passer. In fact, he just left that situation.
Yeah, no.
He just left that situation for this situation. So he's going to run. That actually, if you're going to do it, then you do it right. And this would be the way to do it right.
This system is very collegial. There is no doubt. They are going to embrace it, Tommy. That's what they're going to do.
They're going to Saturday this thing.
They're going to Saturday
offense.
That's right. We are going to run a college offense. That's right. So, yeah, but Noel Tasic, you're naming an outlier of outliers, a freak of all freaks. Yeah, maybe we'll stumble into that, but come on.
That's the one guy Urban Meyer ran off. Yeah, people threatening people, killing people. He ran off Cam Newton.
For a computer, for a laptop.
Tossed it out a window.
Real Talk 93.3 giving away free tickets to the first ever Cowboys and Pearls event on April the 11th at Southwind Plantation. There's an open bar, raffle prizes, silent auction with all of the proceeds of the benefit benefiting Impact Tallahassee in their efforts to assist children with special needs in our community. It's a good thing. If you want to help out or maybe attend the event, here's how it goes. Text the word IMPACT to 850-386-8255. That's text the word IMPACT to 850-386-8255 to enter to win a pair of tickets. It's a $250 value. Good stuff. Jeff Cameron Show. Come back, wrap it up momentarily.
Now, here's your Paul's Termite and Pest Control Tallahassee weather report.
Starting off the week with a chance of showers and storms, then clearing out and cooler with highs in the 70s and lows in the 40s and 50s. Rain chances staying out of the forecast, minus a slight chance of rain on Friday. Tonight, an 80% chance of showers and storms, then clearing out, low near 50. Tuesday, sunny with a high of 73, low of 46. More sunshine on Wednesday with a high of 76. Sunny on Thursday with a high near 80. From Real Talk 93.3, this is Danielle Kelly.
For the elimination of termites, pests, and for a greener lawn too, call Paul's. They'll get them all.
See Nice Tire and Auto Service at 4792 Bluntstown Highway today. The ASC trained technicians at Nice take the guesswork out of fixing your car. That's why wherever you see the Goodyear sign, you'll find what you want in tires and service. From preventative maintenance to a major overhaul and everything in between, you name it. Plus, Nice's services are backed by a nationwide limited warranty. Stop by Nice Tire and Auto Service. 4792 Bluntstown Highway, just west of Capitol Circle.
Hey everybody, this is Shannon Young with Cross Country Mortgage. Been in the industry now for 22 years. I just made the move over to the nation's largest retail lender, Cross Country Mortgage, here to serve you in 7 states, including Florida, Georgia, Alabama, the Carolinas, Tennessee, and the state of Texas. Here to offer better service, better rates, and if you were thinking about buying, or if you've been on the fence and been waiting to call me, now is the time. You can still find me at loansforknowles.com. That is, again, loansforknowles.com. I've helped thousands of fellow Knowles get into their dream home, and I can't wait to help you get into yours. Give me a call today. I'm at 954-369-6171, or go to loansforknowles.com. Again, that's 954-369-6171, and that's loansforknowles.com.
Equal housing, NMLS 373031.
When disaster strikes, the power goes out. And this year, it's already happening. Windstorms tearing down power lines, wildfires scorching the grid, and severe storms leaving thousands in the dark. That's why smart families are turning to the Grid Doctor 3300 from MyPatriotSupply.com. It's the only solar generator on the market with built-in EMP protection. Quiet, fume-free, rechargeable with the sun, and powerful enough to run refrigerators, freezers, and medical devices when the grid fails. But it's not just for emergencies. Use the Grid Doctor 3300 from My Patriot Supply to slash your power bill. Keep your spring adventures fully charged, or light up your next backyard barbecue without relying on the grid. No gas, no noise, just reliable, portable power. Anytime, anywhere. Protect your home. Power your life. Be ready for whatever 2025 throws your way. Get the Grid Doctor 3300 now, only at MyPatriotSupply.com. That's MyPatriotSupply.com. America's leader in emergency preparedness.
The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
And we're about to do probables, but before we do, I will say, so somebody asked about whether Trevor Jackson will be hitting the portal. Some other people said they wanted to know where Trevor Jackson was. He's on the team. So there you go. That's all I can say about that.
Sperry's come in and he's done some things.
Yeah. I don't think there's much to it. Very quickly, I do have to rip my Pirates. I like to rip other franchises when I get the chance. So I got to rip my own when they do something stupid. And boy, did they. Good God. You see this, Tom? So I can't fathom how it happens. It just shows a poorly run organization. But, the right field fence in PNC Park, the best park in all of baseball, has Clemente's number on it. Pays tribute to Roberto Clemente, of course, as, you would as a trailblazer, an athlete, hero, an inspiration to people all over the world. All those things, not to mention a Hall of Fame ball player. They replaced that number in their dedication on the wall, the Clemente wall, for a canned mixed drink ad. And it didn't take very long, like the first inning of the game, for fans to go, why is there an ad for Surfside mixed drink on the Clemente wall and the number's missing? And they called out the Pirates immediately, like, yo, what are we doing over here? And then, to their dismay, of course, Roberto Clemente Jr. just tweeted out, oh, boy. Yeah, he wrote, wow.
Oh, boy.
That wasn't good. So, for their part, the Pirates decided to do two things. They had a broadcasting media relations person issue a statement that the Clemente sign was never supposed to be permanent. The statement went on to cite... Oh, yeah. The statement went on to cite various tributes to Clemente around the stadium and said, hey, look, he still has a statue outside the stadium.
They did what?
Yeah, then they apologized for not letting the Clemente family or anybody else know that that's what they were doing. Then a day later, the team president, Travis Williams, came out and said, about that, We did not intend to disrespect the legacy of Roberto Clemente by adding the advertisement to the pad in right field. When we added the advertisement to the pad, it was an oversight not to keep the number 21 logo that was there. This ultimately is on me, not anybody else. I'm quoting him now. In the organization, it was an honest mistake. We'll be adding the number 21 logo back to the pad.
That's so bad. That poor media relations person
screwed it up. I mean,
I think they were sent to the wolves.
Sometimes it's just as simple as this. Like, okay, let's just say you made a gross error in judgment, a mistake. Nobody in that room could be of the mindset that, like, you do realize, guys, this is tacky beyond reason. This is a tackiness that has gone too far.
We got some lovely space in right center.
You kind of can't do this, you dumbass. Probables, cue it up.
It's time for, how you say, with the pitching, probables?
Yankees-Dodgers are underway already. That's the third inning, 0-0. Carlos Rodon, Casey Mize. Cardinals, Buccos tonight. Let's go, Buccos. Matthew Liberté. Carmen Lazinski, who sucks. Dodgers, Nationals, Dustin May, Mackenzie Gore. We've got the Blue Jays and the Red Sox, Jose Barrios, Richard Fitz. Marlins, TBD, Singata.
Wait. Richard Fitz. Oh, come on now.
Singata.
That's right.
That's tonight.
This is Ghost.
Rangers, Cubbies, Nathan Eovaldi, Justin Steele. We got the Twins and the Royals. Simeon Woods, Richardson, Michael Lorenzen. Astros, Mariners, Hayden Wisniewski and Logan Gilbert. We got the Orioles and the D-backs tonight, 9:40. I wonder if Ira will be up for that.
We post Smash.
And the national championship game will be on, so you might be watching. Zach Eflin and Zach Gallen, the Battle of the Zacks.
I nominate that Simeon Woods Richardson should now be Nobel laureate. Simeon Woods Richardson.
It'd be fun to introduce him as such.
Yeah.
Reds, Giants, Hunter Green, Logan Webb. Padres, A's, Michael King and Luis Severino. And that is a look at those that shall reside on the bump. Tomorrow, just because you guys are, I'm sure, wondering, I can let you know that, in fact, and the news is good, it is officially Paul Skeens Day.
Oh.
Paul Skeens out there breaking records, 1-0 on the year with a 1.46, and is the fastest to win and have an ERA below 2 in 25 starts in the history of baseball. There's a lot of cool little numbers starting to associate with him. It's actually getting silly, Tom.
He's going to be the next Roberto Clemente.
Hey, we'll just smack an ad up there for some tobacco, or perhaps a 40-ounce beverage.
Welcome to the New York Lottery Jackie Robinson Rotunda at Citi Field. Like, what? I can't.
Yeah, not good. Good work out of you, sir. Thanks, everybody. Appreciate you listening and watching. Be good. Don't forget to smash tonight at 7. Tom and Ira kicking that ass while it rains outside. And then tomorrow we got some little headlines. And I bet the boys will also do a wake-up as well. So I mean, just busy. We got it all. Until tomorrow, peace.